pinapili. Chairman Chikoy.
Bago po natin tawagin ng ABS para sa kanilang opening statement, gusto mo natin bigyan ng panahon si Congresswoman Diana Bautista para sa kanyang maikling manifestation. Kong Diana.
Hi, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Chair Chikoy. Good afternoon, Chair Jonathan. Maraming salamat po sa pag-recognize sa akin ngayong hapon. Good afternoon din po sa mga kasamahan ko dyan sa Kongreso at sa mga ating guests at nang nanonood ngayong hapon sa ating hearing. I would just like to make a very short manifestation with regards to what we're doing in Congress at sa hearing na ito. In the days leading up to today's special session, we have seen a barrage of opinions from the general public, both for and against ABS CBN's application for the grant of a legislative franchise. While we respect the considered opinions of our constituents, it has come to our attention that some have sought to characterize these proceedings as a show of force by certain individuals against ABS CBN instead of as an exercise of our legislative functions. In this light, I would like to call for sobriety from both sides, given the important nature of our proceedings here at the House of Representatives. Contrary to the accusations hurled by some that this is just a mere show run by certain members of this Congress. This is not a show, but an exercise of our democratic process. The House of Representatives is exercising its constitutional duty to decide on matters relating to the grant of a legislative franchise to operate a mass media company, a privilege that we are duty-bound to protect from abuse. The applicant here, ABS CBN, is an applicant against whom certain issues have been raised, and as part of our duties and responsibilities as a member of this House, we are mandated to look at these issues. In this body, we decide as a collective, and whatever will be the outcome of these proceedings shall be decided not by an individual member, but by the members of this committee or the House at large. This is the very essence of our democracy. Hindi po ito tinatratong parang laro-laro lamang or isang show. Para sabihin po na ganito lamang ang prosesong isinasagawa ng Kamara ngayon ay napakalaking insulto sa bawat membro ng Kongresong naririto ngayon. Because of this, I think it is but proper for both sides to maintain respect for these proceedings, temper their passions, and focus on the issues pertinent to the matter under deliberation. Gusto ko lang din idagdag sa isyong ito na marami po akong kaibigan sa entertainment industry, marami po akong kaibigan sa ABS-CBN at mga managers ng ABS-CBN. At tuwing nag-uusap naman po kami about sa franchise, nirerespeto nila ang opinion ko bilang isang mambabatas. Nirerespeto ko din ang saloobin nila at ang kanilang opinion bilang isang artista or bilang isang miyembro ng industriya sa entertainment. So sa parehong paraan at sa gitna ng mga batikos ng ilang mga tao, pati na ilang mga galing mismo sa ABS-CBN, nananawagan din po kami sa lahat na irespeto kaming mga mambabatas at ang aming tungkulin dito sa Kongreso. Para po sa mga taga-ABS-CBN, wag po natin sanang insultuhin ang mismong bulwagan kung saan dinidinig ang inyong aplikasyon. Bigyan po natin ng respeto ang bawat miyembro ng Kongresong ito. Ang respeto at paggalang na naaayon bilang kinatawan ng sambayanan. We are all Filipinos. We are all aspiring for a better Philippines. Therefore, let us learn to become better citizens. Thank you, and that is all, Mr. Chair. Thank you, and good afternoon to everyone.
Maraming salamat, Congresswoman Claudine Bautista mula sa Dumper Party List. Talagang napakasipag na kongresista. Sandali lang po, Congressman Remulla. i-recognize po kita pagkatapos ng isang maikling manifestation mula kay Speaker Cayetano. Ano po? Isang manifestation po mula sa ating minamahal na Speaker. At pabayaan po sana ninyo na mabasa ko upang malaman nating lahat ang ilan sa mga saloobin ng ating minamahal at ginagalang na Speaker of the House, Alan Peter Cayetano. Sa partikular na issue ng whether or not the House of Representatives should deny the franchise application of ABS CBN, considering that the company has allegedly violated the terms of its franchise, mandating objectively and impartially, and the Omnibus Election Code on ensuring equal access to broadcast of candidates, and prohibiting ABS CBN from any partisan political activity. Sa kagustuhan ni Speaker Alan Peter S. Cayetano na maisulong ang talakayan at konsiderasyon sa lahat ng mahalagang punto na lulan ng aplikasyon sa prangkisa ng ABS CBN, siya po ay nagsumite ng kanyang pahayag na magiging bahagi ng kanyang testimonya na didinggin sa komiting ito. Ito po ay ayon sa kanyang personal na kaalaman at paniniwala patungkol sa aligasyon ng bias, partiality, and favoritism bago at habang campaign period noong 2016 national elections. Bibigyan natin ng ABS CBN ng kopya ng pahayag na ito upang bigyan sila ng pagkakataong tumugon kung inyo pong nanaisin. Pinili ng ating speaker na hindi na personal na tumistigo o magtanong sa ABS CBN upang nang sa gayon ay mapanatili natin ang pagiging patas sa pagdinig na ito at upang hindi na maimpluwensyahan ang lahat ng partido na may kinalaman sa isyong ito, lalong-lalo na po ang members ng Joint Committee ng Legislative Franchises at ng Blue Ribbon Committee bilang namumuno sa institusyon ng House of the People. Upang maitala sa ating katiktikan, nais kong iparating na ikinalulugod ng komiting ito ang pagpupunyagi ng ating speaker na maprotektahan ang integridad at independensya ng pagdinig na ito. Buhat pa ng simula, mayroong katangi-tangi at malinaw na mandato na galing sa House leadership kung paano po patatakbuhin ang pagdinig na ito. Ang bilin po sa atin, maging patas, walang kinikilingan at maging komprehensibo. Ang bilin ng ating speaker ay hayaang marinig ang lahat ng boses at bukas na mailathala sa lahat ang mga isyu na naitago sa mamamayang Pilipino. Tungkol po sa media bias at political meddling ng ABS-CBN, maraming beses na natin siyang narinig na magpahayag noong 2016 elections. Habang siya ay tumatakbo bilang Vice Presidente ni Pangulong Duterte, siya mismo ang naghain ng TRO laban sa kontrobersyal na ad na ginawa ni dating Senador Trillanes na siyang pinalabas lamang ng katangi-tangi at nag-iisang network ang ABS-CBN. Naunawaan po namin ang Speaker of the House kung bakit po niya pinili na hindi na personal na tumistigo at magtanong sa ABS-CBN. Dahil ito ay maaaring pagmulan ng hindi nararapat na impluwensya sa mga miyembro ng komite. Muli, ang aming taos-pusong pasasalamat sa aming speaker sa kanyang paggawad ng tiwala at respeto sa joint committee hearing na ito.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Congressman Mike Defensor.
Mr. Chairman, bago po tayo magsimula, siguro ho maganda ma-define natin kung ano yung sinasabing media bias, kung ano yung sinasabing impartiality. Kasi po, maski dito sa atin, sa ating mga kasama, nakikiusap po tayo, batay na rin sa binanggit ni Speaker Alan Cayetano, na ang pag-uusap na ito hindi maging personal na pananaw ng bawat isa. Na kung sila ba ay na-criticize, sila ba ay tinira in the past, hindi po ito yung ating nais marating o hindi natin ito ang dapat pag-usapan. Ang dapat po natin pag-usapan dito ay yung korporasyon ng ABS CBN at yung kabuuang iba pang mga korporasyon na pagmamay-ari ng pamilya Lopez at kung paano po ito nagamit sa negosyo. Kung paano po ito nagamit para itulak yung sinasabing agenda. For example, pinag-usapan po yung DBP loans. Although hindi na ho natin na-take up, pero paano ba na-condone yung mga loans na yon? Pinag-uusapan natin kailan lamang yung labor. Paano bang nagamit ang ABS CBN para hindi po makita yung mga problema ng labor at maging sa tax evasion. Yun po ang una. Pangalawa, Mr. Chairman, siguro dapat mailinaw din doon sa batay na binanggit ni Speaker Alan Cayetano noong 2016, yung pong pagiging kingmaker. Na ang ABS CBN ba tumutulak ng isang kandidato, partikular pang presidente, upang sa kabuuan maitulak din ang negosyo. I think, Mr. Chairman, ito ang critical na papag-usapan natin na kung ang mga negosyo o ang interes na pang-material, pang-pinansyal ay tinutulak doon sa paggamit ng ABS-CBN bilang isa sa pinakamalaking broadcast corporation sa ating bansa. And so, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to clarify, and I hope the members would agree, including our Chairman of the Legislative Franchise, Chairman Alvarez and Chairman Alvarado of the Good Government Committee, na dito po tayo mag-usap. Hindi ho ito personal, hindi natin problema kung tayo man ay natira nung nakaraan, may sinabing hindi maganda sa atin, dahil hindi po yun ang importante. Kung natira man tayo para sa isang agenda na ating binanggit na inilahad dito, maaari po yun. Pero kung pampersonal lang naman, pakiusap po, wag na ho nating ilahad sa pag-uusap na to. Maraming salamat, Mr. Chairman.
Maraming salamat, Congressman Mike Defensor. At parehas po kayo ng sinabi ni Speaker na wag po natin haluan ng bias itong hearing na ito. Bagkus panawagan ko po sa lahat ng nanonood ngayong hapong ito na alam po natin na ang bawat isa po na membro ng committee ito ay meron talagang personal na patungkol sa prangkisa ng ABS-CBN. Maaari pong ang ilan ay laban sa prangkisa ng ABS. Meron naman pong kampi sa prangkisa ng ABS. Sana po ay wag po natin na direktang atakihin ang mga miyembro ng committee ito, lalong-lalo na sa social media po at sa YouTube. Si Kong Mickey Biolago parang sa pagkakatanong niya doon sa labor issue, ang daming nagbash, mga 134,000 views sa YouTube na hindi nag-prepare, hindi pinag-aralan. Pero sobra pong mag-review ang mga yan bago pumunta dito. Yun lang po talaga, meron lang siyang side na siya ay isa sa mga author ng ABS-CBN. Si Congressman Remulla, meron ring mahigit 100,000 views. Yung naman pong pambaba sa kanya sa isang bagay na hiningi na niya ng paumanhin at nagsabi na po siya na kahit walang naniningil sa kanya, ay magbabayad siya ng fine. Sana po panawagan po ng joint chairman ng committee ito, wag po nating direktang atakihin yung mga miyembro ng committee ito, lalong-lalo na sa parehas naman po na pro o anti, ay gusto lamang pong magpalabas parehas ng katotohanan. Maraming salamat po. Yes, Congressman Remulla.
Mr. Chairman, before we proceed with the main business for the day, for a few administrative matters, well, I'd like to tell the committee that today, after my experience for the past 10 days or the past 6 days of being the subject of many organized attacks on social media, I have gone to the NBI to complain about the cyberbullying, being done to my person and to other members of the House. I thought this wise, Mr. Chairman, because we are doing our job for this country. We are not doing this job for personal reasons. This matter of scrutinizing a constitutional franchise, this franchise of ABS CBN is a constitutional duty. Ito po ay aming tungkulin sa ilalim ng saligang batas na tingnan po ang bagay na ito. But apparently, Mr. Chairman, some people have employed troll farms to get to our organization. And it goes without saying, I think that all of us, most of us have an experience here about how these trolls are operating now. And in the same light, Mr. Chairman, I brought this up earlier before we called the meeting to order, that I am asking the committee to look into the deception employed by several persons who testified to this committee. Not only deception, Mr. Sa madaling salita po, yung mga nagsinungaling po sa ating committee, alam po natin, dapat po parusahan ng contempt. Kasi lagi natin pinapaalalahanan sa kanila na magsasabi ho ng kabuong katotohanan dito sa committee ito. Sana po maimbestigahan natin to, Mr. Chairman, sapagkat masama ho itong ehemplo kung ito'y palalampasin lang natin ng basta-basta pagkatapos. Pangatlo po, Mr. Chairman, in the same light also, nais ko hong sulatan na ng committee ang NBI upang tingnan ang mga ginawang dahilan ng ABS CBN katulad po ng Amcara Broadcasting kung ito po ay isang panloloko sa committee ito at sa bansang Pilipino. Sana po magkaisa tayo sa bagay na ito sapagkat dalawang committee ho ito na napakahalaga sa ating bansa. Committee on Good Government or Blue Ribbon Committee and the Franchise Committee. Pag ito po ay pinalampas natin, baka maging ugali lang po ng lahat ng ating mga kaharap na gawin sa atin ang ginagawa ng maraming tao ngayon sa cyberspace. At hindi lang po yun sa pagsisinungaling po dito sa committee ito. Kaya sana po, magkaisa po tayo rito na masulatan po natin ng NBI na tayo po itulungan na ma-document po ang mga katotohanan sa likod po ng mga ganitong pangyayari. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chairman.
Maraming salamat, Vice Chairman Boying Remulla. At yung contempt po under Section 11 po ng House Rules ay pwede po nating i-hearing ito. Pero sana po patapusin muna natin yung mismong prangkisa ng ABS-CBN. Pagkatapos po ng usapin ng prangkisa ng ABS-CBN, tsaka na po natin pag-usapan sa Blue Ribbon Committee yung contempt hearing po na inyong nabanggit.
Yung pagsulat po sa NBI sana kung makukuha ko inyong permiso na makiayon po ako sa Secretariat na gumawa po na sulat o liham na pipirmahan po ng dalawang chairman ng committee.
The Secretariat is directed to do so.
Maraming salamat, Kong Jonathan. Ngayon, punta na po tayo sa ating agenda. Pwede po natin tawagan ng ABS CBN para po sa kanilang opening statement. Sino po sa inyo, sir? Ms. Reyes, you are recognized.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Chairman, Your Honors, good afternoon.
Sorry po, ma'am. Natanong ko lang, naka-oath na po ba kayo?
Hindi pa po, sir.
Teka lang po. Comsec, pakipa-oath na lang po.
Please stand and raise your right hand. Yes. The chairpersons instructed me to invite all new resource person in the Zoom meeting. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth before this joint congressional inquiry, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Please proceed po, Ms. Reyes. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Your Honors, good afternoon. My name is Maria Regina Reyes, and I'm the head of the News Division of ABS CBN Corporation. Marami po tayong nakilalang mga kababayan natin mula sa iba't ibang bahagi ng lipunan, dala ng iba't ibang sitwasyon. Nariyan ang mag-asawang Ronnie at Marge na kapwa may kapansanan at nawalan ng trabaho dahil sa COVID-19. Hindi rin malilimutan ng marami sila Leonardo at Joey at mga kasamahan nilang manggagawa na stranded noong lockdown at nagsikap maglakad mula Parañaque pauwi sa mga pamilya nila sa probinsya. Noong kasagsagan ng giyera sa Marawi, nakilala natin si Corporal Jose Estorion na nasugatan sa pakikidigma pero agad na bumalik sa labanan sa kagustuhang tuparin ang sinumpaang tungkulin sa bayan. Marami pa pong mamamayang tulad nila ang naging bahagi ng aming pagbabalita. Naging inspirasyon para sa marami sa atin na magbigay ng tulong at umaksyon para sa ikabubuti ng nakararami. Nais ko po sana ngayon bigyan ng diin ang paglilingkod o serbisyo na sinisikap naming ihatid sa publiko. Ito po yung journalism as public service. Every reporter, writer, producer, anchor, every editor in the newsroom knows that what we do is not just a job. It is a response to a call to tell the truth and work for a cause greater than ourselves. Ang paglalahad ng katotohanan at paglilingkod sa bayan ang layunin ng bawat mamamayan, ng bawat mamamahayag. The very nature of journalism, of truth-telling, is public service. Alam po yan ng bawat kasamahan namin na sumasalubong sa bagyo, lindol, o pagsabog ng bulkan para maihatid ang kwento na pinagdaraan ng krisis ng mga mamamayan at para maghatid ng balita at impormasyon na maaaring makapagligtas ng buhay. Higit sa pangangalap ng mga numero, binibigyan nila ng mukha ang mga kababayan nating nasa lanta. Nagsisilbi silang boses ng mga kapwa natin Pilipino na nangangailangan ng tulong. At ito po ang paglilingkod na nahihirapan na naming magawa ngayon matapos ipatupad ang cease and desist order laban sa ABS CBN. Not once but twice. The shutdown has deprived more than 69 million Filipinos of the kind of information, analysis and commentary and public service provided by ABS CBN News. It has cut off our reach such that 2 out of 3 viewers are unable to watch our news programs. Sila po ay mga kababayan nating sineserbisyuhan ng aming 21 regional news bureaus, yung iba sa mga lugar na tanging signal lang ng ABS-CBN ang nakakaabot at hindi pa nararating ng internet. Sila po yung mga kababayan nating napaglilingkuran hindi lang ng TV Patrol na napapanood natin dito sa Maynila, kundi mga local TV Patrol na naghihimay sa sitwasyon sa kanilang mga probinsya. Sila po yung mga kababayan natin na walang perang pambayad sa cable o pambili ng internet data. Apektado rin po ang serbisyo sa ating mga kababayang OFWs at iba pang overseas Filipinos. Your Honor, since our return to air in 1986, we have endeavored to perform our duty as a news organization. As professional journalists, we strive to keep biases in check and to report on newsworthy events, persons and issues in an accurate, fair, and balanced manner. Pero tulad ng ibang bahagi ng aming kumpanya, hindi po kami perpekto. Wala pong news organization na perpekto. Sa kabila ng mga pag-iingat at pagbabantay, ay inamin po naming nagkakamali rin po kami. Gayunpaman, agad din po kaming umaaksyon para itama ang mali. And we have mechanisms for handling mistakes committed in the performance of our duty. At the company level, we have an independent network ombudsman that receives, investigates, and makes recommendations on complaints against news personnel. These recommendations are acted upon by the head of news in a timely manner. At the news division level, we have a standards and practices unit that likewise ensures our journalists adhere to our own code of ethics and observe the highest professional and ethical standards. Just like those in government, journalists and the news media operate as trustees of the public. As such, our first loyalty is to citizens, and our primary obligation is to the truth. We know that as we hold power to account, we ourselves are accountable to the public we serve. We uphold this accountability and responsibility as vigorously as we uphold press freedom, freedom of expression and free speech, all fundamental rights deeply anchored in our Constitution and well settled in jurisprudence. Your Honors, sa kabila ng aming limitasyon dulot ng shutdown, sinisikap pa rin naming ipagpatuloy ang pagbabalita, lalo na po ngayong panahon ng pandemya. Patuloy kaming kumukuha ng lakas ng loob at inspirasyon kina Ronnie at Marge na natulungan ng aming mga manonood sa sipag at tapang ng manggagawang tulad ni Leonardo at Joey at sa kabayanihan ng mga tulad ni Corporal Estorion. In these most trying of times, we continue to deliver the news each day, knowing that doing so is an opportunity and a privilege, not just to be a witness to history, but to be a force for good. Thank you, Your Honors.
Maraming salamat po. Ngayon naman po ay tawagin natin si Ms. Kata Inocencio, isang dating anchor, host ng ABS.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, may I just make a reaction to the position?
Kong Defensor.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have here the position paper of ABS CBN, and I felt that the position somehow alludes to the recent social media campaign that has been coming out. Alam niyo, Mr. Chairman, sometime noong May, when this was shut down, nagsimula po ito na nagsasalita na si Kong Dante Marcoleta about yung continued showing ng ABS-CBN. Seemingly, word after that, I mean, in the Digibox. Pagkatapos po nun, nagsasalita din si Kong Boying Rimulya. At gusto ko pong iklaro sa ABS-CBN na kahit na nung panahon na yun, alam namin na nanggagaling sa ABS-CBN Tower yung signal na ginagamit ng Amkara. But out of toleration, wala pong dumidiin at walang kumikibo until recently. In fact, si Kong Jonathan Alvarado, parati kong kinakausap, sinasabi ko, Kong Jonathan, sumasama ang loob ni Kong Marcoleta dahil ang pakiramdam niya nagagamit yung istasyon laban sa kanya. Sabi ni Kong Jonathan Alvarado, pabayaan na lang muna natin until ma-take up yung issue. At tinake up po namin yan. Doon lang po ako nag-personal collective privilege nung ito po ay i-take up na yung Digibox. Dito po sa inyong nilagay, sinabi nyo that in recent days, a suggestion has been put forward to allow ABS CBN to operate in consideration of its employees but without the news division on account of supposedly biased one-sided reporting. If carried out, not only would this render 1,000 news personnel jobless, it would send a strong and terrifying message that indeed the press was being silenced. Para malaman ng mga nanonood at malaman na rin ng mga kasama natin, bago pa ho ito nagsimula yung interview, kayo po nakipag-usap sa amin. Mr. Katigbak, Mr. Lopez, ang sabi niyo sa akin, tinanong niyo ako, may sama ng loob ka ba sa ABS-CBN? Ang sabi ko, wala. Ang sinabi ko, kailangan lang namin magtanong. We need to ask the hard questions. Sometime in June 9, si Congressman Marcoleta nagsalita dito about sa isang news report. At matapos noon, tinira siya doon sa news, well, in a way, pinagsalitaan siya and then nagkaroon ng campaign sa social media. Yung interview ko po na to nangyari ng June 25, TV5. Kung di ako nagkakamali, mga 1-2 beses nyo na po akong pinakausapan na kung pwede wag isara yung Digibox. And of course, publicly, on the record, Mr. Katigbak, you have been saying that. Tulungan nyo muna kami i-tolerate na wag isara yung Digibox because this is our capability to pay our employees. Ang sabi ko dun sa show na yun, sa June 25, sana umabot tayo sa isang sitwasyon na temporarily, baka naman pwede dahil nga nagre-reklamo si Congressman Dante Marcoleta, Congressman Boying Rimulya, siguro wala na muna yung sa News and Public Affairs Division, not to silence the News and Public Affairs Division, but to allow the DigiBox to continue para sa inyong pabor na makalma ko yung aking mga kasama na huwag ipasara ang DigiBox out of toleration nang hindi mawalan ng trabaho mga tao. Ma'am Cory Vidanes, after that hearing, before the hearing of the DigiBox, kinausap nyo rin ako. Inahadal. Sabi niyo, tulungan niya naman sana, wag naman ipitin yung DigiBox. And now you come up with this position saying that I am saying that to close the News and Public Affairs Division. Hindi ko na po ito inopen dito sa committee to dahil sa palagay ko naman baka kampanya lang. And then yung Ma'am Cory, sinabi niyo po sa akin, yung Kapamilya Online World is not ABS CBN. Pinaliwanag niyo po sa akin nung nagkatayo tayo dahil binanggit ko sa inyo, ma'am, ba't ako tinira ng ganun? Parang mali naman. But now coming from ABS CBN, saying this thing, nagugulat po ako. You can watch that very same show. Ang sinabi ko po noon, habang nag-hearing, sabi ko wala nang franchise eh. DigiBox ang ginagamit and out of toleration, we're allowing it. Pero habang nag-hearing, sabi ko, sana mapayagan na lang muna yung ibang shows. You know, Mr. Chairman, I didn't want to speak on these biases, but for ABS CBN to take this official position, I take offense, Mr. Chairman. Wala akong sinabing ganito. Wala akong sinasabing sa pagbigay ng prangkisa nyo, wag magkaroon ng News and Public Affairs. I never said that. I never said that in allowing the DigiBox in the future that you take it away. Ang sinasabi ko po at that time, dahil na rin sa pakiusap nyo, sa marami nating pag-uusap dito, out of toleration, sana mapagbigyan. And that's on the record, may video po yun. I-check nyo po. That was a June 25 showing. So Mr. Chairman, again, you speak about all these things about being the news and all that, but you believe your own propaganda. You're coming out with your own propaganda. And in this case, because of the franchise, you are hitting the very same people asking the hard questions. It may not be, you know, in effect, sasabihin ng iba, oh, baka personal nyo, nagagalit kayo. Hindi eh, dahil yung mga nagsasalita dito, doon sa prangkisa, ang sabing tinitira. Doon sa mga iba-ibang social media platforms, at maging doon sa inyong mga news division, which was aired not by me, but my colleagues here. So, Mr. Chairman, again, I hope ABS CBN can reply to this. Where did you get the idea that I was saying, or that did refer to me, but this is definitely this is about me, that to take away the news division on account of supposedly biased and one-sided reporting. Mr. Chairman, huli na lang po. Ang tagal ko na sa politika. At lahat po ng salitang masama, tinanggap ko na. Hindi lang po ngayon, noon pa. Hindi po ako nagalit kahit kailan. Hindi po ako nagre-react violently kahit kailan, maging sa politika ko sa distrito at maging sa media. Alam po ng mga media personalities yan, not only of ABS-CBN, pati ng ibang channels. Hindi tanggap ko po na dahil sa trabaho namin, pagsasalitain kami masama. Minumura po kami. Kuminsan po, sometimes they wish us death. And they say that in the different media platforms. Pero yun po itanggap ko. At hindi ako nagreklamo at never ako nag-file ng kahit anong kaso, kahit sa kaninong broadcaster o kaninong manunulat. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Maraming salamat, Congressman Mike Defensor. At bago po natin pasagutin ang ABS-CBN, ikwento ko lang po sa inyo na nung huli po natin na hearing, kinausap ko si Congressman Mike Defensor. Sabi ko sa kanya, Kong Mike, magpapalista ka ba about media bias ng ABS-CBN? Ang sabi niya sa akin, Chairman, wala naman akong issue sa ABS CBN. Yan po ay totoo niya sinabi sa akin. Ang sabi niya, wala naman akong issue sa ABS CBN pagdating sa bias. Baka yung mga kasama natin ang may sasabihin. Kaya ako po personal, nagulat ako at meron palang magiging issue si Kong Defensor Santiago ngayong araw na ito tungkol po mismo dun sa position paper na kayo po ang nagpasa. Sana po ito po naman ay payong makatao po mula sa isa sa mga chairman ng joint committee ito na maging maingat po sana tayo sa ating pagpasa ng posisyon, lalong-lalo na po kung ibabaon po natin yung sarili natin sa hukay kasi pakiramdam ko po ay imbis na kayo ay magkaroon ng ilang kaibigan dito sa committee ito, ay magbabawas pa. Ano po? Sa lahat naman po ng ating mga kasama, siyempre hinihiling po natin na sana sa panahong ito, lalong-lalo na patating tayo sa ending ng ating joint hearings, ay sana po ay maging kalmado tayo at taliwas po sa pag-uusapan natin ngayon na tungkol sa media bias ay sana po iwasan nating maging bias about dun sa usapin ng prangkisa ng ABS CBN at ipagpatuloy po sana natin ang paggalang sa bawat isa. Ngayon po ay papayagan po namin na sumagot po ang ABS CBN patungkol po doon sa pahayag ni Congressman Mike Defensor.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Congresswoman Bayalago.
can we ask the COMSEC to provide us a copy of the petition paper of ABS CBN?
Position paper po.
Yan.
Opo.
Okay, thank you.
The committee secretariat is hereby directed to give all members the position paper of ABS CBN. Kung Miki, umaapila si COMSEC na i-distribute na daw po. Pakibuklat po yung inyong mga papeles. Or sa email. Personal na lang po, COMSEC. Personal mo na lang pong iabot sa ating mga kasama. ABS CBN, meron po ba kayong maisasagot doon sa pahayag ni Congressman Defensor Santiago?
Mr. Chair, may I reply? We note the sentiments. We note the sentiments of the Honorable Congressman Defensor. Wala naman po kaming masasabi pa.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Chairman,
gusto ko lang pong linawin
Yes, Congressman Defensor.
na ito po'y position paper po ninyo. Na dalawa lang po yan. It's either kayo nagsasabi ng totoo or ako yung nagsasabi ng totoo. But this is a position paper of ABS-CBN. And, you know, to say that you just note of what I said, when in fact, you refer to a certain situation na sinasabi nyo may nagsabi na to operate in consideration of its employees without the news division, masyado pong mabigat ang ganitong akusasyon. Ibig sabihin po ba, gumawa kayo ng position paper without watching what came out, without checking, hindi nyo po na-check kung ano po yung mismong sinabi doon sa programa at ang konteksto ng pinagsabihan na to? Kasi kung ganun po talaga, mauwi po tayo sa ganung sitwasyon na ako sinasabi ko, kasi nungalingan po itong nakalagay dito sa position paper ninyo at hindi po tama ang naging batayan nito. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Maraming salamat, Congressman Mike Defensor. At yes, Congressman Barsaga.
paglilinaw lamang, Mr. Chairman, kanina mayroong binasang position paper ang kinatawag ng ABS-CBN. Meron ba tayong printed copy or hard copy ng position paper na binasa para naman kung sakasakaling magtatanong ako, base raw sa position paper, I will not be mistaken, I will not misquote the position paper of ABS CBN.
Sa panahon pong ito, wala pa po tayong kopya nung presentation ni Ma'am Regina Reyes kanina, pero bibigyan ko po ng direksyon ang Committee Secretariat. The Committee Secretariat is hereby directed to secure copies of the presentation of ABS CBN and distribute it to our members today.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Congressman Sarate.
just say a comment on. Binasa ko naman yung position paper no, nakalagay dito. Although I note na hindi nga pinangalanan naman ang ating kasamahan, no? Si Congressman Defensor. And itong ganitong komentaryo against ABS-CBN, I'm not, defending ABS. Naririnig ko rin ito sa naparaming pagkakataon. No? At nababasa rin sa social media itong ganitong punto na not coming from Congressman Santiago, Defensor, pero sa maraming pagkakataon narinig ko ito, especially doon sa mga programa na kami rin naman ang binabanatan. No? Dahil we have our own shares of talagang pumupuna sa atin. Kaming mga sponsors, binabanatan din, no? Talagang matindi ang banat, kung ano-ano na lang. At minomonitor ko rin, ganun lang talagang lumabas itong proposal na ito, no? Sige, pagbigyan na lang bumalik yan, pero yung mga bias at one-sided reporting ng kanilang mga pinangalanan, yung ilang mga reporters. So I think this is a general statement of fact. No? I'm not sure if this is being, if the Honorable Defensor is alluded to, but talagang general statement of fact ito ng mga ayaw sa ABS-CBN. At nababasa ko ito, naririnig ko ito. No? So I think if the statement of ABS-CBN that is this, hindi ho natin pwedeng i-conclude rin na mali yung kanilang posisyon. Dahil hindi isa lang, hindi dalawa, marami rin po. No? Sa social media, sa radyo, na ganito ang kanilang sinasabi. So kasi pag magkaganon, kami rin na binabanatan, ng kabila, pwede rin bang, but my position is, you are free to say what you want to say, no? Yung publiko, dahil ito naman ang parte nila dito sa prangkisang ito, na binukas natin ang pagdinig sa publiko, and the public has all the right to say this. No? At tayo, pagdating ng panahon, ay ginagabayan tayo ng ano ang pagtingin natin what is for the greater good. No? Despite all these statements in the social media, in the public, for and against the renewal of the franchise of ABS-CBN. So ang aking pong pakiusap, tumuloy na tayo doon sa ating agenda ngayon at para makapagtanong na yung ating mga kasamahan. Salamat, Mr. Chair.
Maraming salamat, Kong Kaloy. Kong Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ako nga nagpapasalamat kay Kong Sarate kahit papano siya nilinaw niya yung position paper. Ang sabi ni ABS-CBN sa akin, noted. Kasi nga, Congressman Sarate, gusto ko lang sabihin nga, because it was in a platform na binanggit ko kay Ma'am Cory Vidanes. Sabi ko, Ma'am Cory, parang yung kapamilya online world had the meme of me at sinasabi nga ganito. This exact quote of taking out the news division in News and Public Affairs. And I was surprised na makita ko ngayon sa submission ng ABS-CBN because I was thinking, maglalahad lang kung ano yung sistema nila doon sa proseso ng News and Public Affairs reporting. So Mr. Chairman, having said that, I thank the committee and thank the Chairman for giving me the time. Sige po, pakinggan na po na rin natin yung ibang resource person. Maraming salamat, Mr. Chairman.
Maraming salamat, Kong Mike. Pwede na po tayong dumako sa ating agenda. So balikan po natin ngayon si Ms. Kata Inocencio na isang daat.
Okay lang po.
Sige po.
Mr. Chair, Congressman Mike, hindi po noted yung sagot po namin. I want to take responsibility po for what was written in this position paper. I didn't realize this was an allusion to you. But please allow us to review the statement, and if it needs to be corrected po, we will submit a revised version to the COMSEC with your permission, Mr. Chair.
As always, Mr. Katibak, marami pong salamat sa inyo.
Salamat po.
Thank you. So ngayon, balikan na po natin ulit si Ms. Kata Inocencio, isang dating anchor host ng ABS CBN na sa ibang stasyon na ngayon. Ms. Inocencio.
Good afternoon, your honorable representatives of this House. Thank you very much for welcoming me as your guest in this August chamber, even via Zoom. You know, I served in ABS CBN for 15 years in various capacities in the news division from 1986 to 2001. I am one of millions of Filipinos who are saddened by the cease and desist order of the NTC for the network to operate and the non-renewal of its franchise. As one of the pioneers of the restored ABS-CBN in 1986, I have seen how the network has grown from nothing to its far-reaching state. This much I know for certain, that in the 15 years that I served in ABS-CBN News in various capacities as Malacanang reporter, House correspondent, desk editor, news anchor, and producer, we, and I speak for the news division, have never been instructed to play favorites, nor to slant stories in favor or against anyone, nor to play partisan politics. We exercised our duty as broadcast journalists based on the ethical standards and responsibilities expected of a professional journalist who is sworn to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, to remain impartial, to air both and all sides as much as possible and as available, and to be fair and balanced in our reporting. I have known the ABS-CBN News head, Jing Reyes, since 1986. When we both started as production assistants when ABS-CBN went back on air. And I know her to be a woman of integrity who practices the ethical standards of a broadcast journalist. She will never take wrongdoing sitting down and will always express her strong opinion on what she believes in, even if this may oppose the general sentiment of management. And I believe that because of this, she has gained management's trust and confidence apart from her tested abilities as a journalist and a broadcast producer. In its commitment to serve the different sectors of our society, I was also privileged to serve the needs of our abused and endangered children through Bantay Bata 163, when I was its first executive producer and spokesperson and host from 1997 to 2000, under the headship of the late DENR Secretary Gina Lopez. We were able to rescue thousands of imperiled children, including their families, which were put under rehabilitation and given livelihood opportunities so that they can start all over. And I would say that these years spent in Bantay Bata 163 were the most significant and gratifying years that I served in ABS-CBN. Now, I left ABS-CBN in 2001, not because I was disgruntled, but because I was called to serve God in full-time Christian ministry, which led me to the Christian Broadcasting Network as its producer and host of the 700 Club Asia. Our organization values our partnership with ABS-CBN, since it has been home to our various religious, inspirational, and educational programs like the 700 Club, the children's programs Superbook and Oyayi. And through this partnership, we were able to reach our intended audience with the truth of the Word of God, and we were able to develop strong godly values for our people. And so our honors, your honors, it is our earnest prayer to God and our appeal to this honorable House that you grant ABS-CBN its franchise so that all sectors of our society may be served. Thank you very much, and may God bless the Philippines.
Sa punto pong ito, tatawagin po natin muli ang akin pong kapwa Bulakenyo, Ginoong Jason Sa, isa rin po sa mga dating anchor ng ABS CBN para sa kanyang pahayag.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Congresswoman Bayalago.
Mr. Chair, supposedly I will oppose sana po itong pagtawag kay Mr. Jason Sa, pero dahil para sa presentasyon na ito, para sa kaliliwanag ng presentasyon na ito, ako po ay sumusunod lamang na payagan siya. Kasi po, meron lang po akong nabasa sa kanyang page sa Facebook na hindi ko lamang po nagustuhan. Dahil bilang isang mambabatas po, ginagawa ko lamang ang aking tungkulin at bilang pangunahing author ng ABS CBN. Gusto ko lang din po ipagbigay alam kay Ginoong Sonsa na wala po akong tinanggap na kahit anuman sa mula sa ABS CBN. I don't know him personally and he doesn't know me personally para sabihin niya na isa akong bayaran. Maraming salamat po, Ginoong sa ating pong mga chairman. Thank you.
Maraming salamat, Congresswoman Mickey Bilago, at naririnig po kayo ngayon ni Ginoong Jason Sa, at siguro maaari niyang sagutin po yung inyong pahayag sa kanyang pagbibigay ng sentimiento sa usapin ng ABS-CBN. Mr. Jason Sa, nandiyan ka na po ba?
Nandito po. Am I being heard, Mr. Chairman?
Opo, naririnig ka po namin.
Opo. First of all, nagpapasalamat ako na nabigyan ng pagkakataon. Pagamat noong una tayo yung dapat nagkadaupang palad at hindi po nagkaroon ng maayos na ugnayan. Pero kagad pa man, ako'y narito para bigyan ng kalinawan ang marami sa ating mga mamabatas hinggil sa paano ba natakbo ang isang pagbabalita sa larangan ng broadcast. Ang prangkisa po kasi ay negosyo. Pero kahipat po ng negosyo yan, meron din pong responsibilidad ang network na isagawa o ikatuparan ang pagninegosyo ayon na rin sa mga alituntunin ng ating batas. Ngayon, bias news ang inyong topic. Sa nakalipas na 40 taon na ako'y naging mamamahayag sa radyo, telebisyon at sa dyaryo, ay may mga panintunan kung paano sinasagawa ang pagbabalita. Unang-una, meron pong tinatawag na news gathering. Pangalawa, meron pong news writing. Pangatlo, meron pong producing, pagdating po sa telebisyon, at airing, pagdating naman po sa radyo at telebisyon. Paano ba nagkakaroon ng pagbabalita? So, mangangalap ng balita, mag-stake out ka, tututukan mo yung mga pangyayari. At nung kapanahunan po namin, bawal na bawal po yung press release. Pag ikaw'y nagbasa sa press release, suspendido ka. Kinakailangan ang lahat ng ibabalita mo, enterprise story. In other words, pinagpaguran mo. Ngayon, sa pagbabalita sa radyo, magkaiba po sa telebisyon. Sa radyo, pag tinawag ka ng anchor, ibubunghalit mo kung ano po yung isasakang papawid mo. Ikaw ang producer, ikaw ang news gatherer, ikaw ang writer, ikaw rin ang reporter. Sa telebisyon, magkaiba. Dahil may oras po, halimbawa, umover ka ng umaga, kagabi pa ang intended broadcast, mayroong mga oras para wariin kung yung ibabalita mo ay ayon sa panuntunan at standards ng broadcast. Dalawa po kasi ang standard ng broadcast. Una-una, yung kapag kayan ay standard ng mismong network. Pangalawa, nung pong kasagsagan ng pahirapan sa broadcast, ninarapat po ng yumaong Tony Barrero at ni Roy Valencia para makapagsimpapawid ang mga radyo at telebisyon na gawin ang ABP yung kapisanan ng mga broadcaster sa Pilipinas at Broadcast Media Council para magkaroon ng self-policing ang mga broadcast. So, may standards po rin.
Mr. Chairman.
Kahit ikaw ay lumampas dyan sa mga standards, madalas po ay irereklamo ka una-una sa saksyon o kung hindi nakakatapat yung reklamo yon, yan po ay sasampa sa KBP Standards Authority. At pag napatunayan nagkamali ka ron, ikaw po ipapatawa ng karampatang parusa. Ewan ko kung yan ay sinusunod pa ngayon dahil mahigit na po 10 taon akong wala sa industriya. Ngayon, paano ba nagkakaroon?
Mr. Chair. Mahirap. Kasi gusto kong namnamin ang sinasabi ni Joyce Sonsa. Hindi ko maintindihan masyado.
Mr. Sonsa, pwede niyo po ba maayos konti yung sa audio ninyo? Medyo malabo po ang dating po ninyo dito sa amin.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Gusto ko ang dating dyan.
Yung ating sound system?
Medyo malabo pa rin po.
Alinaw naman po kayo nakakarating sa akin. Naintindihan na po ba ngayon?
Meron po kayong headset na may speaker?
Wala po.
Sige po, tuloy niyo na po.
Mr. Chairman, ang sabi ng technical natin, it's the internet connection of Mr. Sonsa.
I have a 100%...
Sige po, Mr. Sonsa, tuloy niyo na lang po. Tuloy niyo po.
Ngayon po, dahil ang usapin ay tungkol sa bias reporting, paano ba nagkakaroon ng bias reporting? Number one, maaari po yung mangyari kung halimbawa, minasagap na kalap na balita ang isang reporter at yan ay nangangailangan ng panig ng kabila. Kinakailangan po, sasabihan niyo yung desk-man na meron ako nakuha ang balita ganito. Hindi ko mahagilap yung kabilang panig. Responsibilidad po ng producer at saka ng desk-man na hanapin yung kabilang panig. Sapagkat ang pangyayari ho at sa standard, hindi dapat lumalabas sa ere ang anumang balita na hindi patas. In other words, kung 3 paragraph, yung para sa kay Tarpulano, dapat may 3 paragraph din para kay Maria doon sa opposing party. Ganyan po dapat ang sistema. Ngayon, meron pong, kaya nga importante na lahat coordinated yan. Yung reporter sa labas, yung desk-man na nagbigay ng assignment, yung producer na magsasayin nito, at saka yung writer na magsusulat ng balita. Nagkakaroon ng bias kung halimbawa, ang sinabi ni, let us say, kapareho niyan, sample ko lang ho ito, yung sinabi ni Mike Defensor na ganito, ganyan. Tapos, iba ang pagkakaintindi. Isusulat ng hindi ayon sa pagkakasabi. Ito ay on the condition na walang slant. Pero, nangyayari din na may slant. Halimbawa, example, yung reporter nakakuha ng balita na may namatay dahil uminom ng alak. Ngayon, yung produktong yan, halimbawa, produktong alpha, tatawagan ngayon ng desk yung kumpanya. At alamin nila, base sa kanila, kung ano naman ang kanilang tugon. Nangyayari lamang po yan, ang bias kapag ganito. Kasi negosyo nga yung broadcast, ang mangyayari, kapag yung alpha, advertiser ng network, huwag sasabihin ng sales. Teka muna, hindi pwede. Meron tayong 300 million dyan o 400 million na advertisement. Madidisgrasya tayo. Ang mangyayari, dalawang bagay. I-embargo yung storya hanggat hindi na kumpleto, which is dapat. Or, pahapyaw yung balita, pagkatapos yung bulto ng balita manggagaling doon sa may-ari ng alak. So nagkaroon na ng ano ngayon, ng hindi patas na pagbabalita. Yan po ang ano. Kaya hindi po biro ang trabaho, hindi po katulad sa dyaryo. Sa dyaryo wala tayong hinihimpang visa. Pwedeng sulat kahit sulat. Yan pong kaibahan ng print media at saka ng broadcast media. Sa broadcast media, meron tayong sinusunod na alituntunin dyan dahil privilege lang yung ano yung pagninegosyo, yung pagbabalita natin dyan Yan po pinagkakamali ng marami. Hindi po katulad ng ang radyo o telebisyon. Halimbawa, kaya po mapunta naman tayo dyan. Hindi po biro. Kung minsan ang reporter, yung cameraman, yung soundman, kung sino pang kasama niya sa tinatawag na electronic news gathering, hindi po 8 oras lang ang ginugugol niyan. Alam ni Jing Reyes yan, alam nung kung sino-sino pang mga nandyan galing sa ABS. Madalas nga ako, kuminsan, inaabot pa ng 10, 12 hours. Kaya, hindi makatarungan yung mga naunang pahayag noon, nung hinihingi ni Congressman Ronzalo, na bakit hindi ma-regularize ang mga empleyadong yan. Kung katunayan sobra-sobra pa sa oras ang ginugugol niyan, 24/7 pa kang madalas, yung trabaho. Yung cameraman, kasama po yan. Yung soundman, kasama yan. Yung DCR man, kasama yan. Kaya, ito po, kung pagtatagni-tagniin natin yan, ngayon, balikan natin yung bias. Yung bias, ganito. So, isang example, yung pag tinamaan yung advertiser. Pangalawa, pag tinamaan yung consideration nung management. Simple lang ako kasi. Bagamat walang direct na sabi, pag sinabi lang, bata, etong istoryang ganito. Sige, balita mo, pero kumuha ka ng 3, 4 na magsasabi kontra dyan. Bias na po yun. Halimbawa, bibigyan ko ng example ng bias reporting. Doon lumabas yung Bikoy. Yung Bikoy. Ilang araw po yung binanatan. Nilabas ng mga network. Lalong-lalo na ng ABS CBN. But they never had na kunin yung balik. Binanatan si Pulong Duterte, sinama pa si yung anak na minor de edad, violation of Child and Youth Welfare Code. Yan ang sinasabi natin na bias talaga kasi merong agenda Pagka nilagyan mo ng agenda ang pagbabalita, bias yan. Pag in-slant mo yung balita, bias na yan. Yan ang nagdudumilat ang katotohanan. Madali kasi hindi kami bias. Saka hindi natin pinag-uusapan dito pandemic. Tingnan natin ito sa pangkabuuan, normal or abnormal or paranormal kung ano man yun. Kinakailangan palaging objective lang. Tingnan nyo Noong panahon namin, ewan ko kung nangyayari pa ngayon, bibigyan ko ng example. Si Danny Oro, reporter namin yun, Radio Patrol number 7. Nagre-report siya sa Barangay Holy Spirit. Nakita niya sigmak ang dugo. Nakita niya may patay na bata. Habang nagre-report siya, may nakita pa siyang isang bata na naliligo sa dugo. Sinabi niya patay. Kasi talagang hindi na magalaw But we found out later na yung bata ay buhay. So mali na. Pag maling ganon, suspindido ka agad. Ganon po dapat. Hindi po dapat pinapayagan na ang isang pagkakamali ay lumusot ka agad kasi magiging kultura na po yan. Magiging kultura na yan. Pag pinalampas ang isang pagkakamali, lalo na sa pagbabalita, kasi nga ho, in the old days, ang tawag namin dyan, when you go on the air, what you're saying is gospel truth. Pag nagkamali ka, magkakamali ang buong bayan. Alam po nila yan. Alam niya ang Angelo Palmones yan. Nag-station manager din siya. Kaya, yung mga ganito, tingnan nyo pa ang bias, ha? Speaking of bias, ilang beses na nahuli yung ABS. Madali ko kasing gumawa ng bias without really, na hindi obvious eh. Halimbawa, gusto mong palabasin, milyon-milyon yung sumali sa rally. Ang gagawin lang ho dyan, instruction yung cameraman. Wala kang kukunin na zoom out. Ha? Kunin mo lang, zoom in lahat. Kumiskwala ka lang dyan. Yung 6 katao, palabasin mong Kasi po yung camera, may maraming daya yan. Eh. Pwede kang tumaba, pwede kang pumayat, pwede kang magkaroon ng panga kahit wala kang panga. Ha? Pwede kang maging duling kahit na ikaw ay banlag. Marami yung nagagawa ang camera. Ilang beses yung nahuli. Nire-rehearse pa yung nagrarally kunyari. Yan ang mga bias na hindi dapat namamayani sa isang news organization. Yung pong kino-cover natin, yung anong pangalan ito? Yung impeachment ni President Estrada. Di ba nakita niyo naman kung saan kumikiling. Ang pagkiling madali hong gawin. Yan ho ang dapat iniiwasan. Ngayon, kung pwede naman ho yung maiwasan kung walang kulturang namamayani sa interest ng isang network. Pero pagka may kultura ho, kahit na magpasa pa kayo ng ilang batas yan, kailangan ho yan drink. Kailangan baguhin yung kultura. Yung kultura na kinakailangan nanginginig yung mga politisyan. Yung kinakailangan nangingiklod dyan. Yan ang kultura sa ABS CBN. Na ayaw naman nating kung sakali man at kayong mga nandyan sa mababang kapulungan, mapagbigyan ninyo ang kanilang kahilingan, siguro tiyakin na hindi na mamamayanin. Ngayon, kay Congresswoman Micaela Biolago, tinignan ko po lahat ng propose ko, wala akong sinulat na kayo'y tumanggap ng kahit ang kusing. Ang sinulat ko lang ho, ma'am, ninong at ninang, sapagkat yan po ang Tagalog ng sponsor ng bill. Yes, yan po. Ngayon, kung saan nyo man napulot yan, yung sinabing inaakusahan ko kayong tumanggap, pakita ho ninyo. At kung ako'y nakasulat ng ganyan, demanda po ninyo ako. Kung ako naman ay nagkamali at kinakailangan ko mag-apologize, mag-apologize po ako sa inyo. Ngayon, kung mali naman po yung paratang ninyo, ay sabihin nyo naman po. Nagkamali lang pala kayo, kamukhaan nyo lang pala yung nag-vlog. Yun lamang po. Maraming salamat. At ako po'y nakahandang sagutin kung ano man ang mga paglilinaw ng ating mga tagapagpanday ng batas sa mababang kapulungan. Maraming salamat po. Oras.
Maraming salamat, Ginoong Jason Sa. Ang susunod po na magsasalita,
Mr. Chair,
yes, Congressman Minority Leader, Congressman Abante.
pwede po bang magtanong ng ilang tanong kay Jason Sa?
Maaari po, Congressman Abante, pero maaari po bang tapusin po muna natin lahat ng magpe-present
Okay.
at bibigyan po kita mamaya ng pagkakataon na magtanong kay Ginoong Jason Sa.
Salamat po.
Maraming salamat po, Bishop Benny Abante. Ngayon po sa pagkakataong ito, tawagin naman po natin si Miss June Rufino sa kanyang pahayag hinggil sa content. Kasama po ba natin ngayon, June Rufino? Kung wala po, si June Rufino, atin na pong tatawagan ang kinatawan ng NUJP. May kasama po ba tayo sa NUJP? Si Miss Elizabeth. Mukha pong wala rin sa Zoom yung NUJP. Tawagin naman po natin ang kinatawan ng CMFR para sa kanilang pahayag. Okay. Yung sunod-sunod na tinatawag ko puro wala sa Zoom. Paumanhin po sa inyong lahat. Ngayon po, sana nasa Zoom na to. Nandito ba ang KBP? Okay, tawagin naman po natin ang KBP para sa kanilang panimulang pahayag. At pagkatapos po ng lahat na magpe-present ay pwede po nating tanungin ang KBP. KBP?
Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Ako'y taga KBP, Junik daw pong pangalan ko. Wala po kami prepared na panimulang statement. I was told na baka meron tanungin po. But just the same, meron po, nabanggit po kasi ni Jason, sa magre-react lang po ako, na meron po tayong self-regulatory regime sa broadcast industry. Lahat po ng miyembro ng KBP ay subject to our Philippine Broadcast Code. So, ang proseso po natin, kung meron pong sino man na magreklamo against a certain station or a certain personality, ay kailangan lang pong ipahatid yung kanilang reklamo sa KBP. At hanggang maaari po, meron sana silang recording nung kanilang nirereklamo. At yun po ay meron pong sistemang KBP na sa pagdinig po ng mga reklamo. At ito'y dinidinig nga nung aming committee, special committee sa KBP na tinatawag na Standards Authority. Parang quasi-judicial body po ito na parang korte rin po. Dinidinig po yung reklamo at dinidinig din po yung depensa nung naakusahan. At after that, kung meron pong mapatunayan na naglabag yung inakusahan na programa, stasyon, o network, o personality, ay binibigyan po ng karampatang fine or penalty. So yun po yung sistema po natin. As to, gusto ko lang po mabanggit because it's relevant to pinag-uusapan po natin dito. Sa ating pong broadcast code, maliwanag po na iba po yung treatment natin sa news. Ang news po dapat maliwanag na it's very factual. Sa ating pong code ay sinasabi news should always be factual at hindi po i-confuse ito sa mga commentaries. Ang commentaries naman po ay pinapayagan naman po, kaya lang ang sinasabi po natin dapat both sides of the argument should always be presented. So kailangan maliwanag po that news should not be confused with commentary. Ang commentary po pwede pong magbigay ng
Naghang na po. Sige, laktawan na muna natin. Ngayon, pwede na tayo dumiretso sa MTRCB. Nandyan po si Executive Director Anne Menzo.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon. Please proceed po. Malinaw po.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Malinaw po.
Your Honor, we did not prepare any statement for today's hearing, but we are open to answering questions the committee might want to hear from us.
So, okay na, wala na kayong statement. Prepare na lang kayo later kung may mga tanong po sa inyo.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor.
Next, pwede dumiretso sa COMELEC para po sa kanilang opening statements. Sino po ba yung kinatawa ng COMELEC na nandiyan sa Zoom ngayon?
Huli sana ako, naglalaro lang pala ng Candy Crush no?
Attorney, good afternoon. Meron po ba kayong statement? Nakamute. Nakamute din.
Okay po, Your Honors. Hello.
Ayan, sige.
Your Honors, good afternoon po sa members din ng committee. Your Honors, we did not prepare any opening statement, but we are ready, Your Honor, to give information in relation to this hearing, Your Honor.
Maraming salamat po. Sige, ngayon naman po, pwede natin recognize si Kidlat Tahimik. Wala pa. Ayan. Ayan. Good afternoon po. Nakamute pa yata. Paki-unmute lang po.
Mr. Kidlat, naka-mute po kayo. Pwede po bang pakipindot po yung unmute? Ayan, maaari na po kayo magsimula. Pakipindot po ulit, isa pa. Isa pa. Ayan po, pwede na po kayo magsalita ngayon, Mr. Kidlat.
Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Hindi po ako sanay magsalita sa mga forum na ganito. Usually kasama ko mga artists na medyo long-haired at mas informal, but I have to follow the protocols of Congress. So my deep appreciation sa ginagawa niya dito at pagtitiso niya para ma-improve ang broadcasting sa future. No? I think just for a little background, para you will understand where I'm coming from. Ako po si Kidlat Tahimik. I'm an artist from Baguio. And greetings from Baguio. Medyo malamig-lamig dito. But I also happen to be a national artist. Last 2018, I received my medallion from the president at Malacanang. I have been a cultural advocate. Malakas ang aking pakiramdam and pananaw tungkol sa mga katutubong Pilipino, yung mga kultura nila. Pero even in general, pati hindi katutubo yung kultura natin na which is unique from other countries. No? So let me first clarify. I'm not here, hindi po ako narito para sa panig ng depensa ng ABS CBN or for the prosecution ng ABS CBN. Ako po ay somehow about 3 weeks ago, I accidentally bumped into one of your hearings sa TV and I got interested at napansin ko na lahat ng pinag-uusapan ay mga PDRs, mga citizenship, mga dole. And tinanong ko sarili ko, bakit kaya walang cultural component na pinag-uusapan? At sa akin, bilang isang cultural worker, I think it's important na isama itong ingredient ng yung kultura ng Pilipino and the responsibilities of the broadcast industry to our culture. No? So please don't look at me as being on either side. I think the experts will decide when you vote later. Pero para sa akin na maybe just, ewan ko kung tama ito, may expression friend of the court. And I will just like to state my views. And ang feeling ko that besides ang hearing nito is about yung mga naghahanap po yun ng mga compliance or violations in the past by the network. I believe that this is also hearings na in aid of legislation for the future of, for better franchises in the future. If we're talking about this aid in legislation, then maybe may relevance po yung gusto kong sabihin ngayon. No? Siguro ang tanong ko is, dapat bang franchise renewal ay tinitimbang rin ang mga impact, ang cultural impact ng programming? No? I'm not calling, all my artist friends will say, baka, uy, Kidlat Tahimik is calling for censorship or tighter chains on the kinds of programming. I'm talking, siguro pinag-usapan ko lang ho dito ang balance, a call for balance, kasi commercial considerations ang pinakamalakas at nag-monopolize the choice ng programs. No? Let me give a little background as I see our industry, our broadcast industry. Alam mo nyo, I think there are three main broadcasting systems. Yung after World War II, when America was helping Europe regain after the war, they were offering Marshall Aid. Yung Marshall Aid was offering ways to help industry go back. And one of the offerings of the Marshall Plan was to help build a broadcast industry. Ngayon, this commercial broadcasting system was perfected and tried in America, no? Kasi wala silang gera, they were able to first create the technology, the television tube, then manufacture it, tapos nakalat sa mga millions of households, kaya naging very potent mass media ito, no? So this was the model that was being offered to the Europeans through the Marshall Plan. Pero sabi muna ng mga, I think this is where may nagpreno, ang culture ang America or Department of Culture, gano'n rin tayo, no? So maybe in the absence of that, we have NCCA and other cultural, but it is different to have a culture ministry. Anyway, in relationship to this application, na baka maglagay sila ng commercial broadcasting, ang most of the ministers of culture said, teka muna, are we going to let Coca-Cola or Colgate or Ford Motors decide what images will be seen by our children, by our public? And they said, teka muna, we cannot leave it to them. So they opted for another kind. No? The other extreme of this commercial broadcasting system, where there's a lot of freedom, and meron mga broad limitations, which maybe like what the MTRCB has to warn people kung sumusobra sila. I remember I think when I was in college, I think we copied some of the censorship criteria ng American. Maybe some of you remember na dati kung one breast exposure pwede pa, pero kung 2 breast exposures, naku, bawal na yan. But these are kinds of censorships that are based on measurable things, no, mga technicalities. But anyway, yung censorship naman, the other model is the state-controlled television, as in the communist countries. And then talagang total censorship, and you don't have even a little iota of freedom to do what freedom. Now, between these two extremes, sabi ng mga ministers of culture, teka muna, let's not give the power to the commercial sponsors, and let us not give it totally to the government who can perpetuate itself in power. Nakahanap sila ng middle ground, and it's called the autonomous broadcasting system. Then best example is BBC, no? And who's to say BBC is boring or shallow? BBC is a very good model. Pero ito, all the programming, the budgets for programming and for running they come from yung taxes on TV sets. Every time a receiver is sold, merong tax yun. And I think every year, pagka naka-register yung TV mo, as long as it's operating, you pay taxes. So ito, nagkakaroon ng budget to support autonomous programming. That is neither, hindi beholden sa sponsors, sa commercial sponsors, hindi rin beholden sa gobyerno. But it has a mandate to give wholesome entertainment, to inform, and to enrich the culture of the people. I mentioned this lang kasi maybe now we can understand why we are having this hearing today, no? Na siguro, when commercial broadcasting has its own momentum, maybe there are questions of what is the impact of this kind of broadcasting on sa kapanan ng mga Pilipino, no? Okay, let me, yung unang, just to get to where I am, no? Yung unang head ng BBC, and BBC nga was done on a non-commercial basis. Pero I think in the 1950s, nagkaroon na ng possibility na magkaroon ng commercial broadcasting, yung ITV yata yan. Anyway, he fought this kasi alam niya, malakas ang influensya ng the money that feeds you, no? It might be extreme, but anyway, his name was Lord John Reith, yung unang head ng BBC, and sabi niya, somebody introduced Christianity to England, and somebody introduced smallpox, bubonic plague, and the Black Death. Wala pang COVID noon, pero siguro dapat kasama yon. Need we be ashamed of the moral and cultural values or the intellectual and ethical objectives which are now at stake if we leave everything to sponsored broadcasting? In a way, I think he was explaining kung ano baka ang magiging problema when advertising revenue is the only criterion or the main criterion for what is televised. No? Okay, sa Filipinas, I think we chose the American model, not only because we were colonized, but after the war, we were given independence on July 4, 1946, although we had gotten our independence before. Pero yung American model na yun, and I think it was the Alto Broadcasting System of Antonio Quirino, no? He's the brother of the former president. They started it and naging commercial ang basis ng broadcasting dito sa Pilipinas. Ito sinundan rin ni Uncle Bob. You all remember Uncle Bob Stewart sa Channel 7. Again, also that firmed up our situation as a commercial broadcasting system. Okay, if I can bring up the question, why is cultural relevance important? I'm not saying that all programs dapat may ballet dito at may concerto dyan at may Tivoli weaving. We're not talking about that. Pero let's face it, ad revenues create a certain direction in the kind of programming that is fed to our people. No? Kanina, I'm glad that kanina pinag-usapan niyo yung bias, no? And I think you're talking about bias in newscasting, and there's also, well, there are other kinds of biases that I might add here, no? Like for example, and I'm glad that yung nagsalita yung KBP kanina because now I know where to complain. I remember ho nung somewhat the late 1990s, there was a TV program, and I think it was Congressman Lucy Torres who was acting there, and then there was a line, no? Yung line. Maybe it was not her fault, but it was fed to her by the scriptwriter. Ang pangit-pangit mo. Siguro tatay mo, igurot. Ha 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 ha. Canned laughter, no? Mga ganon. These are supposed to be funny, but there are biases that are not even covered by the sponsors, no? This or another bias that we can talk about is like about 3 years ago or 4 years ago, I was so happy at last merong television series which was based on tribal people, katutubo, mga alamat nila nakapasok, they had enchanted snakes, and yung Amaya yata, yeah, it's Amaya. And I was congratulating, I mean, to myself, the GMA for, wow, most producers are too lazy to do period films na maghanap ka pa ng mga costumes, magre-research pa sa mga...
Mr. De Guia.
Yes.
Thank you for the remarks. Meron lang ako gustong tanongin sa inyo. May I interrupt you, sir?
Yes.
Sir, I noticed that may sinabi ko kayo kanina that if advertising revenue becomes the only criteria for broadcasting, ay magkakaproblema po yung ating lipunan. Did you say that, sir?
Magkakaproblema ang ano?
Ang ating bansa. Pagka advertising revenue na lang po ang naging basis ng decision ng broadcasting. You said this earlier, di ba ho?
Yes. I believe that the bias or the skew that comes from the preponderance ng advertising will change what our audiences will see and what they cannot see. There are many films or programs that cannot be shown because hindi, what's that word, patok sa takilya, or what I call pst, pst film, patok sa takilya, or patok sa advertisers. So there are many programs that will never see day of light because they do not fit the Nielsen ratings. The Nielsen ratings is the way of how they choose the programs.
Ito na lang po, no? Would you have any word to ABS CBN? Kasi sila po ang dominant players sa industry. They're the most dominant players in the broadcasting industry. Would you have any word for them to at least wrap up your your message to us in the committee?
Okay. As I said, I'm not looking at this strictly as an ABS CBN thing. Kaya,
But the committee in general, sir, tutulong committee on franchises, kami yung nagbibigay ng prangkisa sa broadcasters. Maybe you can give us a word of advice to the franchise committee para ho maisa-isip namin yung iyong mensahe tungkol sa kultura ng Pilipino.
Okay. One of the things that I also wanted to just mention here was yung sa lakas ng influence ng TV, and like it or not, a lot of children are exposed to that. A lot of homes, ang pinaka-babysitter ay ang TV, no? I'm sure there are a lot of enlightened parents who try to control that and engage. Pero let me quote another. Alam mo nyo, and I think this is relevant, no? Noong 1961, when the new administration of President Kennedy brought in a new FCC commissioner, no? I think the FCC is like our Department of Telecommunications, and he was going to change the whole thing, and he said, you know, out of 73 hours of evening prime time and there's 59 hours ng action, situation comedies, quiz shows, and movies. His question was, is there no room on primetime TV to enrich and uplift audiences, to enlarge the capacities of our children? Okay, I can leave that there, and whether it's a message for ABS CBN or for GMA or TV5, it's up to them. But this is a big question kasi, okay, ang starting point ko dito is and I think that's why you're having this committee meeting, is that broadcasting is a privilege, di ba? Given by the government. I think ang premise dito is because yung air, the atmosphere is public property and the signals can only reach the viewers by the networks using that. So itong responsibility, if the government is giving them with a franchise, they are parang naging trustees sila to a common good, no? And this is a concept of the network that maybe sometimes is forgotten na meron kayong meron kayong malalim na responsibilidad which has to be followed. And in these hearings, okay. Yeah, so yung question was, and I think this is what that's FCC head, Mr. Minock, said. He was talking to a broadcasters convention in Washington, D.C. At sabi niya, and this is an important point, the public is your beneficiary. If you want to stay as trustees of this responsibility, if you want to stay as trustees, you must deliver a decent return to your public, not only to your shareholders. And I think sometimes the competition between networks, nagiging obsessive sila sa Nielsen ratings nila, and because of this, mas nagiging importante yung patok that the show is going to keep grabbing the audience, and therefore the ratings will convince the advertisers to keep putting in the same company. So ang trend, the actual bias that we're talking about now is the bias is only for trending, di ba? I only found out the meaning of that word trending last week. Yung trending, I don't know why. Pero dahil trending, dahil uso, yun ang magiging patok na magiging programa. And there will be many subjects that are neglected, that will not even have a chance to say. So will it be any surprise if the preponderance ng mga lumalabas sa, whether it's in the movie houses or on television, is yung mga superheroes, di ba? I mean, somehow, yung kabataan natin are all interested in Spider-Man and Wonder Woman and Superman, pero wala na silang nalalaman tungkol sa kadakilaan ni Andres Bonifacio or yung katalinohan ni Emilio Jacinto. This is a bias that pushes them out. Maybe our advertisers are patriotic and nobody really thinks, I don't want to hear Bonifacio. No, maybe they just, teka muna, the cost revenue per peso I invest by showing instead the X-Men or any major hero will be better than if I show Marilu Diaz-Abaya's Rizal film. This is the kind of biases that I think are unseen, but if a real content analysis done of our shows will show. No? Okay, I want to come to a closing, and maybe I will try to. Napansin ko sa last 10 sessions niyo, you've been looking for violations, but if I look at my cultural criteria, and I want to bring it up. Well, sabi ng KBP kanina, they can take complaints. But for example, if I would complain that Amaya was such a great adventure and to take a risk, no? But if I say, teka muna, but why is Amaya, who is the princess of that village or of that people, bakit siya yung, I don't know, what's her name? Marian something. But she's the queen of skin whitening lotions, no? What is the subliminal message of that to all our kayumanggi Filipinas when they see that, wow, kailangan palagi yung pinakabida is somebody who is like them. Now, these are the kinds of things that maybe, can I come to somewhere where if I am talking to the committee in terms of future legislation, no? In aid of legislation, I think be aware of this strength of this bias, no? And how can we balance it? Can we have another agency that will try to say, teka muna, sobrang dito on this time, or you have to bring in a cultural balance, whatever. Or another possibility is that maybe whatever you vote today, I know that the honorable congressmen and women are wanting to come to conclusion to this, no? But whatever you vote, I think I would like to throw a seed to be planted. I think we cannot go on like this forever. Di ba? COVID, everybody says after the post-COVID, we cannot go back to normal. We cannot go back to what it was before. And maybe it's a blessing that your hearings are during these COVID times, because meron tayong mahahanap na pwede pang improve in, pwede pang pagbutihan para our television industry will be truly in the service of the Filipino and the Filipino culture. So without throwing out any darts at any of the particular stations, let me just say that my appeal is we cannot take for granted the impact of television. The television set is not like a microwave or a mixer or a washing machine. It's a very proactive machine that, well, you can use some word like brainwash, or it cajoles us to be good consumers. It makes us believe in certain ideologies, but we must make sure that it is really in the service of the people, that it is in the service of our future generations. I want to close this little thing let me just give you a last minute. This is my bamboo camera. It's a symbol of, it's a metaphor for telling the local story, yung local POV. I think a lot of our programs are patterned after the programs na yung magpapatok, which come from abroad. No? But unless we take and tell our storytelling with our cultural filters, I think we will just be copycat, if we just remain as copycats of foreign programming, because kikita, ang biktima dito is going to be the Filipino people. So this is a fish trap. I made it into a camera. I think some of you saw me when I received my award from President Duterte. I had a selfie with this camera. But please remember this visual. It's a symbol of letting our networks serve the Filipino people in a much deeper way. Ito nga. I'm hoping one day, last night, one day, I can give an award to one network who probably has met the criteria of serving and having programming content that is really tumatama sa kaloob-looban ng Pilipino. So, maraming salamat po. Smile, you're on bamboo camera. Smile. Salamat po.
Thank you, Mr. Eric De Guia. Kidlat tahimik, Mr. Chairman, maraming salamat po sa oras na binigay ng committee para isang refreshing na point of view dito po sa ating pandinig. Kasi pang-11 na yata ito eh. Mabuti naman meron tayong cultural angle sa ating pinag-uusapan sa buong franchise hearing process. Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat po. At ngayon po, pwede simulan na yung mga magtatanong. Una sa listahan, si Senior Deputy Minority Leader Janet Garin, na binigyan ng additional oras po ni Congressman Benitez, Baronda at Co.
Mr. Chair, before the Honorable Senior Deputy Leader asks her questions, may I just inquire, Mr. Chair, if the representatives of the National Union of Journalists of the Philippines and CMFR
Send din na lang siya ng ano, pag-send.
Your Honor. Your Honor. Yes, sige po. Malinaw po. Go ahead. Good afternoon, Your Honors. I am Raymond Villanueva, Deputy Secretary General of the National Union of Journalists of the Philippines, attending this hearing via Zoom in behalf of our chairperson, Nonoy Espina, who is indisposed. He and the NUJP were invited by Representative Franz Espina Alvarez, chairperson of the Committee on Legislative Franchises, having been one of the most ardent petitioners for the renewal of ABS CBN's franchise. As an organization of journalists and media workers, we ask Congress to renew ABS CBN's franchise in the belief that despite its admitted shortcomings, the continued operation of a media organization, especially one of our country's biggest, is more beneficial than its closure. We believe that the ABS CBN should be given an opportunity to correct its mistakes it openly admits and promises to rectify. We appeal to the House of Representatives and to the honorable members of the two committees to exercise their magnanimity and sense of common good in coming out with a decision favorable, not just to the owners of the company, but to its thousands of workers, including journalists and other media workers. Thank you, Your Honors. Thank you po. Congarin, you may start na po.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Magandang hapon po sa ating mga butihing guests who are here today. Let me start by saying that I am opposed to any depletion or removal of our co-Filipinos insofar as the jobs that they have is concerned. However, we cannot just purely and simply use the cloak of protecting our employees without making sure that we stand by the mandate that was given to us. Moreover, we cannot also cover under the auspices of our employees when in fact we are actually doing some confusions in the name of public health. Mr. Chairman, distinguished colleagues, allow me to focus on Section 4 of Republic Act number 7966. Allow me to quickly read Section 4, Your Honors, responsibility to the public. The grantee, and in this case, ABS CBN Broadcasting Corporation, shall provide adequate public service time to enable the government through the said broadcasting stations to reach the population in important public issues, provide at all times sound and balanced programming, promote public participation as in community programming, assist in the functions of public information and education, conform to the ethics of honest enterprise, and not use its station for broadcasting of obscene and indecent language, speech, act or scene, or for the dissemination of deliberately false information or willful misrepresentation to the detriment of the public interest, or to incite, encourage, or assist in subversive or treasonable acts. Mr. Chair, distinguished colleagues, I have been a doctor for several years, and mind you, one of the current viruses that we have been encountering, especially in areas where there is a huge monopoly of a media provider, is a virus that we call public health misinformation. There was a report sometime in 2014 of a flesh-eating disease. This was an exclusive report made by ABS CBN. Namangha po kami, Mr. Chair, distinguished colleagues, dahil lahat naman po ng mga doktor nakakaintindi that when we actually talk about psoriasis, grave as the situation may look before the layman's eyes, nakakatakot siya minsan tingnan. Yung iba, hindi po iba, halos karamihan po ng mga pasyente ng psoriasis ay pinandidirihan, lalo na't pag meron silang mga katabi sa trabaho, sa pampublikong sasakyan. But never did we expect that this will be blown out of proportion, labeling a province, labeling, I believe, a certain town or two areas in that town to have had a flesh-eating disease. This actually gave a huge impact on that town. Next slide, please. What was covered in the news later on was that the Sangguniang Panlalawigan wanted an apology from our major broadcasting network. But Mr. Chair, distinguished colleagues, kanina po kasi rinig ko po ang sinabi ng ating butihing resource person who happens to be handling the news. And I'll go over it in a while. Pero ang naisip ko po, ang naging tutok po ng sambayan ng Pilipino ay yung sama na loob na naramdaman ng mga opisyal, which I believe can be given credit. But did we ever think of the patient, of the family, of the hundreds or millions of psoriasis patients out there who has to live with the day-to-day stigma and discrimination, na kapag malamig ang panahon, kapag umuulan, ang kaba at takot nila cannot be beyond explanation. And here is a major TV network bloating the issue. May I be refreshed, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, distinguished colleagues, what was the action taken by the station on matters related to this?
ABS CBN.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, Deputy Speaker Garin, and thank you for the opportunity to address your concern. I remember the story that you are referring to, and it was aired in our late night newscast, Bandila. Hours after the airing, that story was flagged and our attention was called. We immediately launched an investigation into the erroneous airing of that story and imposed severe disciplinary actions against our airing journalists at that time. We also made sure that we tightened our editorial controls in terms of stories that were being covered and aired. I also sent a team to talk to provincial officials to see how our news division can help them in dealing with the impact of that story, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for that kind response. Doon po ang problema eh. Tinutukan po natin yung mga opisyal dahil nagreklamo sila at tila nagkaroon ng resolusyon calling somebody persona non grata. But my focus is not only on our officials. Paano po yung pasyente? Paano po yung mga pamilya ng pasyenteng may psoriasis? Paano po yung patuloy na nilalait ng ibang Pilipino, ng ibang kababayan natin, hindi nila naintindihan yung sakit? And instead of ABS CBN being an instrument of educating our public, and unfortunately in this situation, naging tulay tayo para i-discriminate palalo yung ating mga psoriasis patients. Did you ever think of helping the family? Do you have advocacies on explaining to the general public what psoriasis is all about, how we can support them, na ayaw naman nila, subalit ito'y sakit nila, ito naman maski nakakatakot tingnan, hindi nakakapanghawa. Dahil ang naging reaksyon po ng ABS-CBN, tumutok doon po sa mga opisyal. At nakalimutan natin na yung taong nilait natin, taong may buhay at nasasaktan. At hindi lang po siya ang psoriasis patients. Marami pa po sila. And they are actually good people. Nagkataon lang nagkasakit. Isang sakit sa balat na wala pong gamot o kung meron mang gamot, napakamahal. Let me move, and then Mr. Chair, if I may, nakakagulat po kasi kung meron po talagang proper vetting, when your reporter went there, she was in complete personal protective equipment. na talagang visual pa lang, takot na po. I am not bringing this out in the open to demean the broadcast network. But then I'm bringing this out dahil minsan pag tayo'y lumalaki na, nakakalimutan natin na marami pong mga maliliit na tao na kapag ating nasasagasaan, walang-wala po silang kakayanang lumaban. Just like in this instance, papansinin natin dahil sila board member, sila gobernador, pero paano po ang pangkaraniwang Pilipino? Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yeah. Mr. Chair, allow me to refresh the memories of our distinguished colleagues here on a victim who was murdered in Cebu. I think the name is Christine Silawan. Previous slide, please. Okay. Nabigla po ang sambayan ng Pilipino dahil isang batang babae na napakaganda. And of course, the mother who was really grieving, the neighbors and the families grieving, wanted justice for this victim. And to refresh your memory, Your Honors, naging malaking issue po ito sa Cebu. But it was a puzzle why she was skinned, why the body looked like that. And the PNP came into the picture. When the PNP came into the picture, nagsagawa po sila ng sariling investigasyon and hindi pa po nalalaman kung sino ang may gawa nito. But apparently, again, in your station, distinguished sponsor, distinguished officials of our giant network, Mr. Chair, distinguished colleagues, out of the blue, there was an expert who was claiming to have conducted autopsy on the victim. Can you please flash the next photo, please? The next slide. Next slide, please. Okay, that's the victim there in the middle. Meron pong isang bata na nasa gilid. At kung titingnan niyo po, napakakawawa ng batang ito. This is actually the boyfriend of Christine Silawan. Siya yung unang naituro dahil siya yung nakita na huling kasama. Pero minarapat ng karamihan na hindi ito tutukan dahil tiningnan muna at hinintay muna yung investigasyon. I don't know what the attitude has been formed. Pero minsan kasi kapag malaki ka na, gusto mong palagi kang nauuna sa balita. And sometimes, I am not blaming the officers and the management of ABS CBN. Siguro minsan pag sobra na tayong malaki, hindi natin nababantayan yung mga maliliit na bagay. But if we look at the situation, it is a huge impact on our people. The boyfriend was alleged to have been the murderer of this victim. But the PNP refuted this. The only problem here is that the PNP was not given the platform that you gave to Attorney Acosta and to Dr. Erwin Erfe, an expert that you always publicize in your station. I agree he is a doctor, but myself being a doctor, we all know that he is not a pathologist, nor is he allowed to perform forensic pathology. Ano po ba ang nangyari? Dahil sa malawakang pagbabalita, this innocent boyfriend of the victim, ikinulong, and at his young age, he cannot understand why, while he was grieving for the death of his girlfriend, he was also placed in prison, subjected to things we cannot imagine. Nangyari po ba ito dahil siya'y anak lamang po ng isang mahirap na pamilya? Nangyari po ba ito dahil siya'y isang probinsyano na hindi alam kung paano lumaban sa ganitong klaseng laban? Ikinulong po ang batang ito habang siya'y umiiyak dahil yung kanyang girlfriend ipinatay. The only link there, may nagsabing sila ang huling nakita nagkitang magkasama sa kumbento dahil sa Kristan yung boyfriend. But because the police investigation were pointing to a lot of blank walls, they tapped the NBI, opened, I believe, a cybercrime, the experts on cybercrime came into the picture and opened the Facebook of the victim. So much so that it led them to a possible suspect, a businessman who actually wanted, who had an infatuation with this young lady na mas may pera at mas may kaya kaysa dito sa boyfriend na mahirap. Ano po ba ang nakita ng PNP? Nakita na nanlaban yung bata, hindi po siya na-rape, at yung bilang mga eksperto po, ang sabi po ng ating ibang mga pathologists is that there is a possibility that the victim was left there for a few days at posibleng nakain ng kung anumang hayop or a stray dog. And that was the explanation. But there was seemingly a sensational news claiming, this was again claimed by the public attorney's office, which for reasons we do not understand, is almost always being given an exclusive coverage by your station. At ang sinabi nga nila doon, ina-rape daw yung bata, binuhusan ng asido. This was in contrast to the findings of the real forensic pathologist under PNP. Isa po ang epekto dito. Pwede pong mawalang bisa yung kaso dahil yung totoong eksperto hindi naman nabibigyan ng plataforma kagaya ng binibigay nyo kay Dr. Erfe. But what pained me here is that we have here a young boy who was already sent to prison, and the judge in Cebu found out that it was not supported by any evidence, and there was already in the custody of the police the victim on the left, the suspect on the left, who actually confessed to the crime. Pero pilit balita, so much so that the president gave a directive, yung batang yan, pag pinatay niya yung isang batang babae sa Cebu, ibalik sa kulungan yan. Of course, there was confusion because sometimes if you're a very big, almost always, if you're a very big network, and if you come out in the open at sinabi nyo, ito ang but will correcting the wrong that was mentioned before, will correcting the fake expert that you tried to portray as a forensic pathologist on television, will that correct the psychological torture that this young teenage boy underwent while in prison? Next slide, please. And that's it. Ito po palagi nating footage na nakikita po. Ang sinasabi ko po, pwede po meron kayong mga rason. But earlier, as I was listening to the opening statement of our distinguished resource person, ang sabi niyo po sa slide number 5, it is your response to a call to tell the truth and work for a cause greater than ourselves. Tama po yun. But a cause greater than ourselves is actually coming out and listening to the real experts, not to the friends of your employees or newscasters. At kung yung ating pong biktima was murdered, mas masakit po itong pangalawang biktima na sa batang at murang edad niya naikulong, pinalabas, ikinulong ulit, dahil nga po, yung eksperto na palagi niyong pinagbibigyan ng ere, hindi naman po pathologist. Next slide, please. Mr. Chair, distinguished colleagues, I really didn't want to open this up. But I do have high respect for ABS CBN. As a child, nakikita ko po, nung maliit pa po ako, kayo na po ang unang bukang bibig. And even my daughter, when she was growing up, We were always excited to band together to watch the soap operas. The good channels and the advocacies that you have made us bond together as a family and allowed us to talk about a lot of things. But as the years passed by, my eyes were starting to open to a few people whom I've known. Mga taong walang ibang ginawa kundi magtrabaho. Mga taong kinainggitan. People who are not powerful. I'm really sorry, I'm just a little bit emotional because this person hindi ko po siya lubasang kilala. Nakilala ko po siya unang-una nung nagkaroon ng Yolanda. Nakilala ko po siya nung nakikipaglaban siya sa SARS at ako po nung mga panahon na yun, wala pa po sa larangan ng kalusugan. Nakilala ko po siya kung paano siya magtrabaho nung labanan nila yung leptospirosis. At lalo ko siyang nakilala nung linabanan natin yung Ebola at yung MERS-CoV. He was the only infectious specialist in the central office of the Department of Health. He was a regular person being interviewed by your station because he was the DOH spokesperson during the time of Secretary Ona and was carried on during my time. I'm referring to the former Assistant Secretary, Dr. Lyndon Lisuy. Lyndon was a jolly person. He dedicated his life to DOH despite all the efforts from the private sector. Next slide, please. Yeah. He was always the person who gave calm to everybody when there was a lot of fake public health news. This is the person who protected your network when the flesh-eating news came out in the open. Siya po ang lumabas at nakiusap na wag nang palakihin, and siya po yung kumausap sa mga pasyenteng may psoriasis, telling them that everything will be all right, that it was not the usual thing that happens. And who will expect that Lyndon will be victimized by the impunity that sometimes happen in a very big corporation? Next slide, please. Lyndon was not really in the limelight, but he was forced to, simply because we have a lot of pandemics, we have a lot of outbreaks, we have a lot of emerging infectious diseases. And that prompted him to work hard. Lalo't lalo na po, na sa buong departamento, he was the only one who agreed not to practice and instead focus on the Department of Health. Salamat. Probably because of his hard work, when President Duterte assumed office, I'm not sure what happened, but maybe because they were looking for competent career people in the department. Director Lyndon Lisuy, who was not appointed as Assistant Secretary or Undersecretary during the previous administration, during the time of former President Aquino, by virtue of his being career and by virtue of his performance, he was appointed as Assistant Secretary. Next slide, please. And that prompted him to work harder. But sometime in December and even in November, although there were already a lot of intrigues about him being appointed, he was always cited as somebody who did not campaign for the president, as somebody who is not really, as somebody who was a spokesperson during the time of the former president. But despite all of this, he was appointed by virtue of the career promotion inside the department. Siguro ito ay pinagsimulan ng mga ibang matagal nang naiinggit sa kanya at ngunit hindi nilang pinapatulan in one of your TV stations. I remember that fully because I was about to have dinner, and when I opened up DZMM, Secretary Duque was about to be interviewed, and a person who hated Lyndon for being appointed submitted a letter to Secretary Duque. Unfortunately, even before Secretary Duque had time to peruse over it in his office, because Secretary Duque, just like all the other former secretaries of health, decided to tap Lyndon for infectious disease concerns and for emerging illnesses, and even as a spokesperson. There was a 2-page letter read verbatim before the eyes of all doctors listening. Hindi lang yun. I just heard it later from colleagues that he had an ailing father who cannot sleep and who cannot eat without watching TV Patrol and without listening to DZMM. Yan po ang pangkaraniwan araw-araw. Yan yung ginagawa ng tatay niya. Yan yung ginagawa ng nanay niya. But on that night, laking gulat nila nung binasa yung 2 pahina ng sulat, a letter accusing him of corruption, a letter accusing him as a medical representative, a letter accusing him of being incompetent, a letter threatening him, and a letter calling on the President to remove him from the Department of Health. Hindi ko na po matandaan, pero sa grabe at sa dami na akusasyon doon, we saw the immediate transformation of Lyndon. He was never the same old person that we used to see him. Moreover, he cannot forgive himself for inflicting that harm on his parents. Alam mo yung palagi niyang bukang bibig na, kaya ko namang masaktan ang sarili ko. Pero yung masaktan yung nanay at tatay ko, dahil lamang po ako na-promote sa DOH, hindi po ba mas maganda na tanggalin na lang po ako bilang opisyal? But people were advising him not to give up. Why? Simply because he was the only infectious disease specialist in the whole department. And after that, he was always being ridiculed. Of course, hindi po siya payat na tao, hindi po siya, mahirap po kasi minsan pag parang kinakantsawan ka. And you're a scientist or you're a doctor who is not used to all of this. Because doctors as they are, lahat po ng mga eksperto, hindi po mahilig humarap sa media. Because you're always busy in your work. If there are doctors who will have the whole time of their life facing media, it's because they're not practicing, or it's because they are not busy with patients, or it's because they have ambitions. And a very powerful TV network like your station unconsciously can ruin the lives of many of our scientists and our doctors. That's why I decided to come out and speak up for them, because I've seen a lot of them suffer in pain. I've seen a lot of them who are brilliant scientists, but who cannot speak up when it comes to talking before radio stations and TV stations. Moreover, wala naman silang maraming kakilala sa istasyon nyo at hindi naman sila pwedeng basta-basta pumunta na lang doon at magsabi kung ano ang kanilang nararamdaman. Next slide, please. And because of those repeated series of autopsies being conducted, so may I ask, I know, Mr. Chair, I've been thinking so hard about this. I really do not want to ask these questions. But then as a doctor, it is my moral obligation to do this. I can face all cases thrown to me because I am both a doctor and a politician. But doing this to scientists and other doctors, kawawa po sila. So ito po ang naging buhay nila. On a weekly basis, ngayon nga, yung iba naka-quarantine, yung iba nagpo-positibo. They have to, hire lawyers, spend a lot, spend everything, every centavo that's being paid to them by the government, simply because you had a series of experts that you call, binansagan niyo pong eksperto, yung mga hindi naman totoong eksperto. So may I ask the officers of ABS CBN, first, what is your basis in labeling a doctor as a public health expert? Or, let's say in the case of autopsies, when do you call a doctor a pathologist? When do you give credential to a forensic pathologist when in fact he is not? And because you mentioned that in responsible journalism, you really have to go through to a series of vetting. And because the flesh-eating fiasco already happened before, you already have systems installed. May I ask you, do you ever have an evidence, a statement from all the 21 countries, plus the United States of America, plus all the countries who are members of the European Union, who are currently using the Dengvaxia vaccine, maski isa lang po, meron po ba kayong nakitang ebidensya o papel man lang na nagpapakitang may namatay dahil sa Dengvaxia?
ABS-CBN, maaari niyo pong sagutin yung 3-4 na katanungan na ipinukol sa inyo ng makapagbagdamdamin na si Congresswoman Janet Garin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Your Honor. Your Honor, in our pursuit of the truth about Dengvaxia, we sought information from various sources, including experts, including officials, previous and present, of the Department of Health. They gave us diverse opinions and observations about the vaccine and how it was selected to fight dengue in our country. We tried our best to do our stories in a fair and balanced way. But I do understand and acknowledge your concern about the use of non-experts. In fact, I myself received feedback that some of our commentators' interviews with non-experts tended to alarm people. And as a result of that, I acted on it immediately. And we dealt with the commentator as well. We also put an end to stories on Dengvaxia that tended to cause alarm among the general public, Your Honor. In relation to what happened with Dr. Lyndon Lisuy, Your Honor, pardon me po, hindi po ako masyadong pamilyar doon sa pagbabasa ng letter that was apparently complaining about him. However, let me just say this. We are a large news organization. Our news platforms have been integrated since several years ago. And sometimes mistakes were made. We are far from perfect. We acknowledge that we make mistakes, Your Honor, and we try our best to do everything to correct them in a timely manner. Everything we do is really for the benefit of our viewers and for our public. Wala pong mali siya doon. Kaya nga po, hinigpitan namin ang aming editorial controls para mapigilan ang mga ganitong pagkakamali. It is a continuing effort to improve our protocols and our processes, as well as to professionalize our ranks even more, Your Honor.
Mr. Chair, distinguished colleagues, there were 3 phrases that struck me. First, the answer on timely manner. Second, no malice. Third, you consulted experts. May I inquire, well, because when we talk about experts, we're not talking about personalities. We're talking about specialty societies, medical societies, and even the World Health Organization. So can you enlighten me? Or if you won't have time anymore, you can submit to us in writing. Sino po yung eksperto na sinasabi mo? You can just name the major expert that you have. Pangalawa, timely manner. Yeah, Mr. Chair, before that, just so we will not be deviated from the point of discussion, sino po yung eksperto na sinasabi niyo?
I cannot remember at the top of my head, Your Honor, but I do remember that we had several news stories that we aired in our various platforms on Deng Baksha that relied on officials of the health department at that time. However, I acknowledge that there were also non-experts interviewed during our commentary programs on radio, Your Honor. Yun po ang pagkakaiba nung mga content na nailabas po namin tungkol sa Deng Baksha.
Do you have an advisor or a consultant who guides all your stations and your TV networks whom to interview, whom not to interview?
One of our public health experts, one of the public health experts that we consulted and provided us information to guide our editorial decision-making was Dr. Susie Mercado. That was the height of the Deng Baksha controversy, Your Honor.
Mr. Chair, distinguished colleagues, I know Susie as a doctor. What made you choose her? I mean, I don't want this to focus on her. Ang tinitingnan po natin ay yung action po ng inyong network. Sa dami-dami po ng doktor sa buong Pilipinas at sa buong mundo, bakit po kailangan lahat ng mga usapin sa kalusugan ay kailangan nanggagaling kay Dr. Susie Mercado? Siya po ba isang infectious disease specialist? Did she ever practice in vaccinology? Did she ever handle an outbreak or a pandemic?
Your Honor, no. She was also advising us on other matters related to public health at that time because we gave the issue of health attention in our news programs, Your Honor. Yun naman pong ibang eksperto ay ginawa po namin ang mga interviews sa aming mga news programs, Your Honor, and in the news reports.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, if I may, mismo yung pagpipili niyo ng isang tao, I don't have anything against Susie Mercado, but on my case, I would say that no doctor holds the expertise of many. Kasi kung ang sinasabi niyo po, dun sa slide presentation niyo kanina, is that the true, ang katotohanan at paglilingkod sa bayan, ang layunin ng bawat mamamahayag, hindi po ba na kapag kayo pumipili ng iisa lamang pong tao who will tell you, advise you, or dictate to you, hindi po ba sa gagawin yung ganyan, ang laki ng posibilidad na kung meron siyang personal na kalaban or meron siyang galit sa isang tao, magkakaroon ka ngayon ng pag-aaway-away among doctors because a giant TV station should have went through the Philippine Medical Association or even get the official statements. I mean, we know, of course, that she was interested for the WHO regional director post. And the WHO regional director post needs a lot of backing from the government. Mr. Chair, I believe I still have two more major issues that we'd like to handle. Pero ang ipinapakita lang po natin dito, kapag pala yung ABS CBN, merong taong kinuha at yung tao na yun, may galit sa'yo dati, o may galit sa mga tao sa departamento, o may galit sa pagbabakuna o hindi mo na pagbigyan dati, and it will be like their time to pay you back simply because they have a huge TV network against their back. Nakawawa naman po ang taong bayan. Mr. Chair, next slide, please. Earlier, Mr. Chair, I had one question to ABS CBN. Ang sabi niya is you do extensive research. You consult diverse officials. We have the Philippine Medical Association, the umbrella organization of all doctors. Under the banner of the Philippine Medical Association, we have various organizations, both specialists and non-specialists. Bakit po ba? Sa dami-dami naman ng specialty organizations whose idea and input will not be biased. Bakit po ba kailangan ang inyong sasabihin sa larangan ng kalusugan ay nakatutok lang po sa isang tao? And again, if you were indeed doing your research, no less than the World Health Organization have repeatedly told you that the vaccine does not cause deaths. Bakit po ba paulit-ulit niyo pa rin ginagawa yun? You mentioned about giving everybody the prerogative to speak up. Mr. Chair, distinguished colleagues, I'm going to submit to this august body a review of the interviews, the corresponding airtime by a few of the people of ABS CBN kung saan halatang halata po na parang ginawa ng black time yung inyong broadcast network para lang po sirain yung mga matitinong opisyal sa loob. Na kapag yung isang tao ay gustong magpa-appoint at walang bakante, lalapit lang sa isang empleyado nyo, isang ospisyal nyo, para sila makapasok. Do you look at this as responsible journalism? And moreover, you mentioned timely manner. Ilan po bang otopsiya ang nakandak muna ni Dr. Erfe bago nyo ito hininto? And how long did it take you? A few days? A few months? Because if my memory recollection tells me right, hindi nyo po ito hininto hanggang nawalan na lang ng gana yung taong makinig. You should conform to the ethics of honest enterprise. You should not disseminate or deliberately disseminate false information or willful misrepresentation to the detriment of the public interest. Ano po ang ginawa nyo? Araw-araw, si Dr. Erfe, kaharap ang sambayan ng Pilipino, may dugo na autopsy. Una, autopsies should not be conducted by non-experts. Pangalawa, naglabas po ng hinaing yung Philippine Society of Pathologists, the umbrella organization that holds the expertise to this. At ang pakiusap nila, please do not tolerate this. But it fell on deaf ears, Madam Speaker, Madam Resource Person. At ang sabi nga nila paulit-ulit sa inyo, bakit hindi nyo pwede itong gawin? Because as pathologists, they have been taught to strictly observe the confidentiality of the autopsy process and to respect the mortal remains of the patient. Not only that, it was very prominent in your series of exclusive interviews and exclusive shows that media men were filming the actual autopsy examination. Never have we paraded as doctors the organs of the autopsy cases we have done in public, dripping the blood. Not only was that inhumane and disrespectful to the dead, it was also dangerous on the part of the media people who were exposed to possible viruses and bacteria that may be present in dead bodies. Kailangan niyo po kasi talagang alagaan yung inyong mga empleyado dahil lang po ba kailangang makascoop, papupuntahin niyo sila at ipaparada niyo sila. It is tantamount to a public health menace. And Mr. Chair, distinguished colleagues, this was the cause of vaccine coverage plummeting. Now that you have heard from all over the world that viscerotropism and neurotropism does not exist, in the so-called victims that you were calling. Kasi paulit-ulit po kami reaching out to your station. The others listened, but ABS CBN, because you're a big conglomerate and you're a giant, our voices fell on deaf ears. And even up to this point of time, with health issues, you keep on interviewing non-experts. And the problem there is, kapag ikaw ay isang doktor, binigyan ka ng airtime ng ABS CBN, the public now believes you. Expertise is already measured by whom you invite and whom you give platform. Those autopsies exposed your people to a lot of bacteria and viruses. Hindi po pwedeng gawin yun. Yung pagparada natin ng mga dugoang internal organs, ano po ang nangyari? Natakot lahat ng nanay. Bumalik ang polio, nagkaroon tayo ng outbreak ng measles, nagkaroon tayo ng outbreak ng Japanese encephalitis, dengue, chikungunya, name it, you have it. Now, it pains me to hear you clamoring that you have been helping the Filipino people, clamoring that you have been helping our country. Tulong po ba yung ibinalik nyo yung lahat ng mga infectious diseases na natanggal na ng ating bansa? Tulong po ba na naging instrumento kayo that for the 10 years that we have been polio-free, it only took you and some of your people dahil gusto nyo yung limelight, gusto nyo yung media. Those irresponsible reporting, I do not care if you will be hitting me personally, okay lang po yun. Pero yung programang iningatan ng ating gobyerno ng ilang taon, just because if you cannot perceive the real experts in our country, how can you have responsible journalism? How can you convey the real public health information? How can you deny that you have been unknowingly and unconsciously become a part of that virus that's creeping on our public health? Mas masahol pa sa COVID-19 ang public health misinformation. Kaya, Mr. Chair, if I will be given another opportunity, I will come out with other specific situations where public health was sacrificed simply because of the fight to be the first one to come out with the news. You mentioned it is a response to call to tell the truth and work for a cause greater than yourselves. Yes, that should be the case. But apparently, there are a lot of deviations. Sabi niyo rin po kanina, ang paglalahad ng katotohanan at maglilingkod sa bayan ang layunin ng bawat mamamahayag. Tama po yun. Pero paulit-ulit po nananawagan yung mga doktor, why don't you focus on specialty organizations? If you talk about psoriasis, call the Philippine Society of Dermatologists and they will give you a person. If you talk about autopsies, call the Philippine Society of Pathologists and they will give you facts and not fake experts. If you want to know about public health, you have PCP, you have internists. You cannot just call people simply because they are your friends. Because responsibility is not all about friendship. Responsibility is all about standing by the mandate that was given to you by our government. Mr. Chair, I know nagalit na po, wala na po akong oras. I really would have to enumerate other illnesses that has been sacrificed by the claimor to be on top in terms of bringing news to our people. At uulitin ko po, napakarami po ng mga mababait at mga galing tao sa ABS CBN. But if the management insists to be deaf, mute, or blind to the realities on the ground, you cannot say that your heart is for the people if you will only take care of officials. You cannot say that your heart is for the people if you cannot let our lowly brothers and sisters speak up and be heard. You mentioned at the company level you have an independent network ombudsman that receives, investigates, and makes recommendations on complaints against news personnel. And these recommendations are acted upon by the head of news in a timely manner. If this was done in a timely manner, all the gains that we have for the past 25 years could not have been drowned just because of irresponsible journalism. Mr. Chair, I thank you for the indulgence and the perseverance. I hope I will be given the next opportunity to touch on other public health programs that have been ruined simply because responsible journalism is cloaked with a desire to be on the top. So let me just ask this direct question, and I do hope you will not take it against us, doctors. Kasi ang pakiramdam po ng ating mga doktor, ang pakiramdam po ng ating mga scientists at the Research Institute of Tropical Medicine, the doctor whom you have been lambasting because she was the principal investigator of the Denvaxia is the same doctor that made the BCG, the vaccine you are using for your TB, for your children against TB. They are the same scientists, Filipino scientists, that did polio. They are the same scientists who did the vaccine on measles. They are the same scientists who are actively developing the vaccine on HIV. They are now the same scientists being develop COVID vaccine. Pero ando dun yung takot, ando dun yung kaba. Kasi alam nila kahit magaling sila sa larangan ng kalusugan, pagdating po sa media, wala po silang panahon na makipagkape-kape at mag-PR sa inyo kasi wala silang kakayanan at wala po silang ganun kalawak na oras para gawin yon. To Mr. Katigbak, whom I respect so much, I hope you can answer my question truthfully, honestly, and as a Filipino. Ginamit niyo po ba ang Denvaxia para mapalapit at akala niyo ay mapapalapit kayo kay Pangulong Duterte by hitting the previous administration?
Hindi po, Your Honor.
Will you commit that you conduct an investigation? By the way, Mr. Chair, pasensya na lang po. I remember, I tried to always erase this on my mind because I don't want to be a bitter person. But I remember when I was heavily challenged as a doctor, and I was criticized because I'm from the province and I'm not from Manila. I accepted all of that. But what pained me is that you gave me an instance to answer before DZMM. At doon po natuwa ako. Dahil in-interview ako, nung umagang yun, nagbigay ako ng sagot at sabi ko, I will prioritize this. I will answer this. Because with all the controversies, I have to rush. We had to rush my father to the hospital dahil na-stroke siya sa sama ng loob. And when that happened, ang sabi ko sa sarili ko, talaga naman pala na dapat hangaan ko yung ABS CBN. Because after all the months of the lies and the unfairness, you gave me 30 minutes of time in DZMM to be interviewed. At doon ko sinabi ang buong katotohanan. But when I reached the hospital bed of my father who was being transported to the ICU, he was looking at the TV, he was crying, and he was telling me, ano yung nangyayari? Because on your TV Patrol News, it was all over the headline, Garin apologizes to Denvaxia parents. I did everything to call your station. I was in touch with all the people that we can call dun sa mga numero ibinigay nyo. Kasi hanggang sa ANC, paulit-ulit yon. At ang sabi ko, pwede bang wag nyo na munang ibalita yon? Because it's not true. And I told them, just give me time. Para lang yung tatay ko, mamatay man siya o makasurvive man siya, hindi niya dalhin sa pagkamatay niya yung sama ng nararamdaman niya because he heard me when I was being interviewed. And if you can prove in that interview that I did apologize for the Denvaxia program, I will immediately resign from Congress. Napupudpud na po yung daliri namin Kasama ko yung aking mga kapatid at nanay sa kakatawag. But it fell on deaf ears. It fell on deaf ears. I just wanted to ask you, at isa lang po yung tanong namin. Ang sabi namin, when did you have that interview on TV Patrol? Naka-headline pa. And your people were telling me, ay hindi po. This is from the management. This is from the management. Mr. Chair, distinguished colleagues, I will not be personal on this. It is enough for me that what happened to me will not happen to other doctors. I might be privileged enough because I have my mandate and the people in my district who have known me and who will not believe in the lies, even if it will be ABS CBN pending this. But I am worried that if this will be done again to the other doctors and the other scientists or to the patients who are discriminated, ano po ba ang laban nila? And as a member of this august body, I look at it as my extreme responsibility that your management should not allow this to happen. Sir, moms, please review my interview in DZMM. I can give you a tape. And then go into TV Patrol on the same day. You had that news item repeated for straight 3 days. At ang sagot niyo lang sa akin, ganun eh. Yun yung instruction ng management, we heard you. I even asked, when did TV Patrol interviewed me? Because I was just in that hospital taking care of my father who felt very bad that the TV station that he looked up to since he was young was the same TV station who will be an instrument. I have a few people who were not happy. If you are part of the executive, when you become a secretary, a member of the cabinet, you cannot please everybody. There are tough decisions that you have to make. And there were a lot of tough decisions that I had to make because we had to cleanse DOH from corruption. There were a lot of tough decisions we had to make at FDA. At marami po kaming ginawang desisyon para linisin ang PhilHealth. But if your TV station will be allowed to be an instrument of a few people who would like to be appointed, or a few people who would like to win in an election, or a few people who are not really experts but who are pretending to be experts, or a few people who will get back at us because their businesses were ruined because we have to put systems. Ngayon, ang daming nagrereklamo sa DOH. But did you ask them why they cannot move? Because they are afraid of ABS CBN. Gustong-gusto ng mga doktor na gumalaw. Gustong-gusto ng DOH na gumalaw. Pero bawat galaw nila, bawat desisyon, bawat gawin nilang tama, ang bukang bibig nila, baka malindon lisoy kami. I do hope, Mr. Chair, distinguished colleagues, that the management of ABS CBN will look into this. Kasi kung mabigyan po natin sila ng prangkisa, at narinig ko po sa ilang kasamahang natin, ayaw natin mawalan ng trabaho ang ating mga kababayan. Ayaw nating ipitin ang isang malaking negosyante. We are all one with this. But if protecting a business conglomerate would mean tolerating the lies on public health, would mean tolerating the fake experts that you continuously interview on your station, then we have to stand up. Even if we lose this vote, I have to stand up. I have to convey the sentiments of our doctors, because not every doctor is given the privilege to sit in Congress. Not every doctor is privileged to be a mother. And as a mother, and as a legislator, and as a vaccinologist, I can sacrifice my political post if only I have to stood up by the Hippocratic oath that I have always agreed upon. At patuloy ko pong tatayuan at gagawin ang nararapat para sa mga bakuna dahil vaccination saves lives. And now we are in this mess. Now we are in this pandemic. This pandemic is already a big problem. Pero ang hindi nasasabi, for once in the history of vaccination, when measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine was ruined because of a fake expert who went to the US, who is from the UK, ano po ang ginawa ng UK? Ano po ang ginawa ng Amerika? Ano po ang ginawa ng mga media? They came out with the truth. And that doctor, tinanggalan ng lisensya. Pero dito sa atin, pag merong gustong magpasikat, gustong magpa-appoint, all you have to do is approach a reporter from your station, befriend him, and then they will have the luxury of time, the luxury of a big conglomerate, the luxury of being called an expert simply because you allowed them to be. Mr. Chair, distinguished colleagues, even up to this point of time, I still don't know whether to vote yes or no. I'm still thinking. My vote might just be one vote. Maliit lang po ito. But it is enough for me that if ever we grant them the renewal of the franchise, all of this should be looked into by ABS CBN. Because when you manage a corporation, success is not measured by money. Success is measured by the real difference that you give to our people. Not the difference that you mouth on the presentations that you make, but the difference that in your conscience you have. To the family of Asek Lyndon Lee Sui, I know that no words, nor even an apology can ABS-CBN can bring back his life. But when he died, defending himself, being very bitter, all that I can say is that maybe God has his purpose, and maybe the Committee on Good Government and the Committee on Legislative Franchises should be a very vital instrument. That big as you are, when you grow bigger and you grow bigger and you grow bigger, you always have to remember that at one point, you will never grow big if before God's eyes, you will be part of continuous public health lies. So I do hope that people who will be speaking before your station are real experts. And again, my last appeal. Please do not focus on personalities. Kami po mga doktor, malaking bangayan kung saan ka nag-aral. Kung galing ka sa ganito, kung galing ka sa ganito, ikaw ba'y taga Manila, ikaw ba'y taga probinsya. That is why in some countries and in many countries, the Secretary of Health, the Minister of Health is a non-doctor. Because the countries do that so that the sitting Ministry of Health will be neutral, no biases. But if you get a certain person, and that certain person dictates whom to interview, what to say, what to put on the news, then you do injustice to the people who have probably refused her or refused him at one point in their lives. You now become part of a bigger virus we call fake news and public health misinformation. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chairman.
Maraming salamat, Congresswoman Garin. Ang susunod po natin ay si Minority Leader Benny Abante.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to give the premise that I've always advocated and believed in my statements and my questions. There are two realities, Mr. Chair, my colleagues, in this world. We have a legal reality. We have a spiritual reality. There is a law, a natural law, Mr. Chair, that we all believe in. In fact, this is an absolute law of nature, the law of cause in effect. I would even think that legal realities are the result of the cause in this world, the result of what spiritual realities that we have today. The spiritual reality I'm referring to is what the good book, the Bible says. Men love darkness, and I'm quoting now, rather than light, because their deeds are evil. So because of this spiritual reality, Mr. Chair, that men love darkness rather than light because their deeds are evil, we have these legal realities so that we can prevent men from doing evil. We have a principle in a democratic nation like ours that we are not a nation of men, but a nation of laws. We believe in the rule of law. This committee hearing, I would even want to convince myself it's not about politics. It is about law. My decision either to support the franchise of ABS CBN or not will not be based on personalities, will not be based on politics, but must be based on law. What I will be saying today, asking questions, are realities that we cannot avoid and we cannot get out of. I would like to cite, Mr. Chair, some provisions in the Constitution, and I would like to seek understanding of the lawyer of ABS CBN so that I can be enlightened on these provisions. Article 2, State Policies, Section 11. The state values the dignity of every human person and guarantees full respect for human rights. Section 13, the state recognizes the vital role of the youth in nation building and shall promote and protect their physical, moral, spiritual, intellectual, and social well-being. In Article 14 of the Constitution, on education, in Section 3, educational institutions shall teach the rights and duties of citizenship, strengthen ethical and spiritual values, develop moral character and personal discipline, encourage critical and creative thinking. I would like the lawyer of ABS CBN to please enlighten me, being a lawyer, on the provisions of the Constitution that I mentioned.
Mr. Chairman, request that Attorney Bautista be allowed
Attorney
to
Bautista?
speak.
Nasa Zoom ba siya?
Yeah.
Good afternoon po sa inyo lahat. Naririnig po ba ninyo ako?
Pakilaksan lang po, Attorney Ayo.
Is this better?
Yan, sige po.
Salamat po sa tanong ninyo, Congressman Abante. yung pong state policies ay para pong advisory or recommendatory policies ng Constitution, but they have to be implemented by actual legislation. Kasi parang motherhood statements ito na sinasabi ng ating constitutional framers na ito dapat ang ating gawin. But they need specific implementing legislation. Yun lang po.
Okay. Ito po bang mga provisions na ito, Attorney, kasama dito ang media at broadcasting?
Opo, kasama po. Dahil ito po lahat ng citizens.
Okay. I would like to cite some events in your programming, Mr. Chair, if I may be allowed.
Go ahead.
We have, I have the presentation here. And my first question, perhaps it can be answered afterwards, is this, the first slide. I think I gave that to you. Wala ba? Let's wait for a while. Ano po? Kasi mawawala po yung pagiging madamdamin ko pag wala yung presentation.
Ayan na po siya, Kong Abante.
There is a question that I would like to ask that can be answered after perhaps the complete presentation that I have. And this is the question. Is ABS CBN, and I would like to say this, no, and I'm not picking on ABS CBN alone. I believe that God has allowed this franchise issue to be tackled by Congress so that the other networks will realize the values of what I'm going to say. So this is not just ABS CBN. This is all the networks that we have in our country today. So I would like to pose the question, and the answer would be afterwards. Is ABS CBN following the 2004 implementing rules and regulations of Presidential Decree number 1986 as updated October 2012 on TV classification, applying contemporary Filipino cultural values as standard? That would be the comprehensive question, Mr. Chair. Next slide. Sexy wet performance in ASAP. It says, remember when rival Sunday noontime shows Party Pilipinas and ASAP both grabbed the attention of the MTRCB. In 2013, Lavi Po and Rocco Nasino had a sensual number in Party Pilipinas, while Ann Curtis performed a sexy wet performance in ASAP. AP. Next slide. Just like other long-running shows in this list, ASAP had its own share of encounters with the MTRCB. One recent incident was Ann Curtis' 28th birthday production number, where she did a, I quote, wet performance of Rihanna's hit song, Diamonds. In the performance, aired in February 24, 2013, Anne wore a black strapless dress with a very high slit. Next slide. Next slide, please. In June 2014, the MTRCB imposed strict rules on Pinoy Big Brother, all in following a controversy that involved housemate Jaime Halandoni posing nude for a painting. Posing nude as task in Pinoy Big Brother. Next slide, please. Certain sectors, including the Philippine Commission on Women, raised concerns about a weekly task wherein Big Brother urged Jaime to post nude for a painting that would raise funds for a charity. Jaime, who is vocal about being a devoted Christian, backed out from the nude painting challenge, as did the three other housemates, Daniel Machonaga, Michelle Gumabao, and Ranti Portento, who were supposed to accompany her. PBB All In issued a public apology as ordered by the MTRCB through TV Patrol. The government agency also ordered the show to adopt gender-sensitive measures, including seminars in coordination with the Philippine Commission on Women. Next slide, please.
Kong Benny,
Yes.
inform ko na po kayo, dinagdagan kayo ng additional 5 minutes ni Congressman Mike D.
Thank you. Next slide, please. Offending sensibilities in Pinoy Big Brother. In July 2015, MTRCB ordered PBB 737 to enter in a, as I quote, strict and close collaboration with the regulatory board, as the resolution stated that certain scenes in the show offended the sensibilities of the viewing public. Next slide, please. The patong scene in the better half. One scene in the better half showed the character of Denise Laurel on top of Carlo Aquino while making love. Mocha described the bed scene by saying, and I quote, "Ang haba ng halikan, mayroon pang nakapatong yung babae sa lalaki." Next slide, please. The PNP striptease scene in On the Wings of Love in a PNP uniform. In January 2016, MTRCB summoned the top executives of ABS CBN to discuss James Reid's striptease scene in the TV series On the Wings of Love. with stop-billed him and lab team partner Nadine Lustre. This was in connection to Philippine National Police complaint about the improper use of the police uniform in television and movies for that matter. Next slide, please. Attorney Villarreal said in his statement, the said episode portrayed actor James Reid doing a striptease while wearing a PNP General Office uniform, allegedly with a police badge and showing the rank of SP04. Next slide, please. Degrading scenes in its showtime. In August 2014, it was reported that MTRCB called for a mandatory conference with its Showtime's executives and host Vice Ganda for alleged offensive and degrading scenes aired in the July 28, 2014 episode of the show. According to the letter signed by MTRCB Hearing and Adjudication Committee Co-Chairperson Eric Malyonga and committee members Bobby Andrews and Joey Romero, and I quote, the challenge portion in the program segment entitled Gandang Lalaki showed program host Mr. Jose Vizeral, aka Vice Ganda, wiping off with a towel his sweaty armpit and smudged this towel all over the face of one of the program's male dancers. Next slide, please. Foul language in Pangako Sa'yo. MTRCB called the attention of executives of the defunct teleserye Pangako Sa'yo for the use of foul language in the May 29 episode of the show. The episode in question, which happened 3 days after its pilot episode, featured a confrontation scene between Pilar Pilapil and Ian Veneracion. Benita, who is Pilar, confronted her son Eduardo, Ian, after he had a relationship with their cook Amor, Jody Santamaria, despite his engagement to Claudia Angelica Panganiban. She told her son, kung pampalipas libog lang yan, that's okay. Go ahead. Next slide, please. Another foul language in Pangako Sa'yo, which was top-billed by Until I Met You. In November 2016, MTRCB called for a meeting with executives of the Jadin primetime series Till I Met You. The episodes in question were aired from October 25 to 28, 2016. Viewers filed complaints about the steamy car love scene of James and Nadine aired on October 25, as well as the bathtub scene of the Jadin love team that aired in the succeeding episodes. Next slide. While the October 25 episode carried a strong parental guidance or SPG rating, the other episodes only had a PG rating. Another picture in next slide. X rating in Maalaala Mo Kaya. In 2012, Maalaala Mo Kaya's Cursed Beauty episode featuring Jane Onesa and Angel Aquino was initially given an X rating by the MTRCB, which means that it is not for public exhibition. This is the reason why MMK had to postpone its June 2, 2012 airing since it was submitted again for another review to the MTRCB. The MMK episode tackled a sensitive topic since Jane's character is a 15-year-old girl who is recurrently raped by her stepfather. Next slide. Angel's character, who played Jane's mother, reportedly assisted her live-in partner while doing the act of rape. Almost a month later, in June 28, MMK finally aired the controversial episode with an SPG rating. And so, I'd like to ask ABS CBN, do you have a morality issue? Are we to assume, next slide, that if given another 25 years, these are the type of programs you will continue to air? The last question is, have you forsaken contemporary Filipino cultural values and morality in favor of the ratings? I'd like to ask ABS CBN to please answer these questions. I would like to say this, not because, Mr. Chair, that I am a bishop, that I have a holier-than-thou attitude. No. I am not only a bishop, but I'm a family man. I have children, I have grandchildren. And even if MTRCB would issue a rating of SPG or whatever it might be, we've got to remember that TV is a public viewing, unlike the movies, where if it is rated only 16 years old and above can come and see the movie. 15 years and below cannot enter. That is not like television. May I ask, therefore, as our good attorney said, that the articles and the provisions I read in the Constitution also applies in broadcasting and media. May I now please ask the questions or give it to our ABS CBN officials.
Your Honor, good afternoon po, Congressman Abante. To your first question po about PD 1986, yes po, to your first question po, sa PD 1986, yung sa MTRCB po, yes po, we comply po with all the MTRCB program classifications that are recommended. Congressman, kung meron mga unresolved issues po, we present our position to the Adjudication Committee of MTRCB and we come up po with agreements and changes moving forward po. With regards to your second question po, rest assured po na iisa po ang ating layunin na mapangalagaan, iisa po ang ating layunin na mapangalagaan ang moral at spiritual values ng pamilyang Pilipino. We tell po stories that teach life lessons and our stories po embody Filipino values. Filipino values po like hard work, honesty, respect, resilience, and most of all po, love for family, country, and God. Dahil po, ang sentro ng aming mga kwento ay ang pamilyang Pilipino. Personally po, I assure you that moving forward, we will continue to be responsible content producers that make a positive influence in the lives of the Filipino. Maganda po ang hangarin namin. We want to entertain, inspire, and give hope to the Filipino audience. If there are infractions po, we correct them right away, and definitely po, we apologize to our audiences. Yun lang po, Mayor, Congressman Abante.
Maganda po yung inyong sinabi, and I would like to just, Mr. Chair, quote the commentary of a certain attorney Josephus Jimenez of the Freeman. This is entitled The Social Irrelevance of Noontime TV Shows and Telenovelas. And this is not just ABS-CBN, okay? He said, I do not know if you have read this, and I would like now please to quote this. With great sadness and dismay, I am constrained to say that all the leading TV and radio networks and even most print media organizations in the Philippines today are feeding the minds of the people with trash and dirty garbage that distort the values and sense of purpose of the young and old alike. Noontime TV shows poison people and telenovelas distract them from social and economic realities. Dirty jokes, lewd dances, and vulgar language pollute the airwaves and poison the Filipino soul. Influence the formation of a national thought, culture, and paradigm. And that is how powerful the media is. In the Philippines, most of this media are just in it for the money. They don't have any sense of patriotism or love of country. It is pure business for them. All they are after are ads, circulation, and to some even envelopmental journalism, being bribed to push a selfish or insidious advocacy. They don't think of the larger implications of what they publish to the long-range strategies and objectives of the nation. What the people see and hear reflect the kind of nation we have. The print and broadcast media here in the Philippines, and in fairness, in many other third world countries, are fixated on making money through ads to fuel consumerism and market liberalism, disregarding the loftier purposes of value formation to build a strong nation and a people of a sturdy character and values. The national government agencies that regulate print and broadcast media are either manned by incompetent executives or political appointees without a noble purpose, or being bribed not to censor or suspend erring practitioners and network. Noontime shows that propagate the people's culture of mendicancy. The host gives money and jacket, all of those things. So I would like to ask the ABS CBN, just like what Attorney Jimenez here, Joseph Jimenez asked. Ang sabi niya rito my question is simple. What is the social relevance of all this? What are the redeeming social values? He further said, I have a very high respect for Boy Abunda. He is one of the more sensible TV hosts, which include Karen Davila, Ted Filon, and Tina Monsoon Falma. But Boy Abunda's hackneyed questions, and I quote, sex or chocolate, lights on or lights out, the best time of the day to have sex, irritate me, ang sabi ni Attorney Jimenez. What do these questions have to do with building a strong value system and national character for our nation and people? He said, I paused for any reply. I think until now, there was no reply. And perhaps right now, the ABS CBN has the chance to be able to answer them.
Kong Abante, before ko po pasagutin yung ABS, inform ko lang po kayo na binigyan kayo ng additional time tulad ni Congressman Mike D, ni Congressman Tony Pet Albano. Additional 5 minutes po.
Thank you po. Thank you. Thank you very much.
ABS.
Congressman Abante,
Yes.
we have continued to work on improving our content through the years po. There is no intention to give the audience trash. Kasi po, mahal namin ang audience namin and we are here to serve them. Ang Channel 2 po has a general audience.
Please let me interrupt. I do realize that you have no bad intention. But what is said is already said. And even if you do not have any bad intention, the fact that they were said to others who are viewing it, it's not good.
Yes, I acknowledge that, Congressman Abante. And moving forward, we'll make sure po. I was just going to say po, in Channel 2 kasi, we have a general audience. So, sinisigurado po namin na nabibigyan namin ng audience ng iba't ibang kwento at karanasan para po masagot namin ang iba't ibang pangangailangan ng mga miyembro ng pamilya. Hindi po kami nagsasabi or nagmamalinis. As we said, we may be imperfect, but we continue to strive to work on those imperfections. And I take note po, Congressman Abante, of all the insights, all the observations, and moving forward po, we will make sure we address them.
Ito po, I hope that the other networks are listening and watching. Ito, media rin po ang nagtatanong eh. Media rin ang nagsasabi. Opo, sapagkat yun namang audience natin, wala naman silang lakas na loob magsalita eh. No. Ngayon, pagdating dito sa Kongreso, syempre, I have to be objective with everything I say.
Yes po.
I cannot be biased, no? For example, like sabi ni Jason sa kanina, bias kayo. Tatanungin ko sana siya kung siya hindi bias. Ganoon din naman eh. Di ba? While in reality, Mr. Chair, sana mag-point of order ako kanina kay Jason sapagkat alam na sa social media na panay ang tira niya sa inyo eh. Oo. So, here is a guy that says you are biased in your reporting and he does not even have the authority to say he's not biased. Pero ito po, media nagsasabi ha, in a particular column in Philippine Star, an opinion targeted TVs and radio networks on the issue of, and I would like to quote, feeding the minds of the people with trash and dirty garbage that distort the value and sense of purpose of the young and old alike. Now, I know you do not have this intention, but these words are real and honest that is being done by the television network. Now, let me ask a question to you. If you say that you do not do this and that you value the families, how can we correct this?
Sorry, Kong Abante, can you repeat the last question?
Ito po ang sabi, how can we correct this? No? Ito mo sinasabi sa Philippine Star, feeding the minds of the people with trash and dirty garbage that distort the value and sense of purpose of the young and old alike. How would you think we should correct this?
Moving forward po, we will handle that po with our producers. I personally po will supervise our producers. Pwede po lang akong sumagot dun sa noontime show kanina.
Go ahead.
Opo. Gusto ko lang po sabihin that Showtime and Vice Ganda, ang gusto lang po nila talaga ay magpasaya ng mamamayang Pilipino. Mr. Chairman, yeah. I just feel that the hosts, diba, have they don't have any deliberate intention, diba, to hurt anybody when they do the program. They want people to have fun. they want to give happiness.
Alam ko
Yes
po,
po, they have to be very, very responsible. We have, they self-regulate po. They try their best to self-regulate. And if there are some falters or excesses, they're quick to make up po. Gusto lang ko po lang sabihin that ang intensyon lang po namin lahat is magbigay ng dekalidad ng mga programa na may values po para magabayan ang pamilyang Pilipino. It has never been, as I will repeat po, Congressman Abante, it has never been our intention to destroy any person, to hurt any family. Nanay po din ako, Congressman Abante. I'm very sensitive to that, and our team po, I can attest to that. We make sure that we continue to work on responsibility when we produce our stories, when we produce our experiences. And because po, it's not about us, it's about the people we serve. And that's what we've dedicated our lives to, Congressman Abante.
alam ko po,
Ngayon
in fact-
po, we will continue to improve that service. As I said earlier, we may have our imperfections, but we are going to move forward, and we will work at improving our content.
Salamat po sa inyong kasagutan. Alam ko po yun, and pinapasalamatan ko po yun.
Salamat
You
po.
know, at alam ko naman na sa mga question pong ito, maaaring maging kontribida ako sapagkat very, very popular ang inyong noontime shows. Ngayon, kaya sinasabi ko po na ito po mga bagay na ito ay hindi ko po ito katanungan at mga statement, kundi statement din po ito ng media. Oo. Pinaparating din po ito sa inyo upang magkaroon tayo ng pagbabago sa ating mga programs.
Yes,
Opo. Na talagang kayo po, kapamilya po kayo, di ba?
Yes.
And you believe in you believe in family values.
Yes po.
You believe in moral values. Therefore, dapat magkaroon po tayo ng self-regulation. Not only because the MTRCB says so, that magikinig po tayo mismo. If we believe in discipline, if we believe in moral values, the Filipinos being a religious people, I think that we also have to listen to this, hindi po ba? To be able to really change. And I would like to know, I appreciate your answers. Pero gusto ko po ituloy ito. Ano po? So, magiging malinaw po sa atin. Ito, I quote, sinabi rin po ito ng media, noontime TV shows poison people and telenovelas distract them from social and economic realities, dirty jokes, lewd dances, vulgar language, pollute the airwaves and poison the Filipino soul. Well, of course, kayo nandirito, no? So you are the one to answer. And the question of the columnist, which I now propound to you, is this: what is the social relevance of all this? Meron po ba? Meron po ba o wala?
Meron po, Congressman. Unang-una po, I just would like to say that yes, we practice self-regulation po. And everybody in our team knows that po. We do not allow that kind of language in our programs po. If there are, as I said earlier, if there are slips po.
Ba't nakakalusot po eh?
Yun nga, slips po ang tawag. Nako po, hindi po, it doesn't go unpassed. When there are slips po, we make sure we deal with it immediately, and everybody in our team can attest to that po.
Oh. Therefore, wala po talaga itong social relevance. Kasi for example, you want to have an honest show. Oh, rape scene po ito. Ibig nyo sabihin, to be honest, that you will actually vividly picture a rape scene in public? Of course not.
Of course not.
Of course not. Hindi po ba?
Of course not.
Of course not. So therefore,
yeah,
gusto
of
ko rin
course
tanungin,
not.
nakalagay po dito, what are the redeeming social values? There's no redeeming social values.
Congressman, sandali lang po.
Opo.
Yeah, I will answer you. Yung pong sinasabi niyong mga sexual scenes and ano. Number one po, we have no theme of any show that's focused on just sex po. Number two po, if there are sexual scenes, these are only used po to establish relationships at hindi po short, hindi siya mahabang scenes po. It's only used to establish relationships and heighten conflict. Pero po, sana makita yung kabuuan ng mga kwento namin, hindi lang scenes isolated from each other. Kasi pag nakita po ninyo yung kabuuan ng kwento, dun nyo ma-appreciate that all our programs stand for Filipino values, as I said earlier. So, dahil pamilya po ay importante sa amin, the values of family, malasakit sa bayan, at pagmamahal sa Diyos po, makikita niyo yun. Even our kontrabidas po have redeeming values in the end. They have learnings. They learn later on to forgive instead of just have a life of revenge. Marami pong lessons na ganun na even the kontrabidas po learn towards the end. And that's the redeeming value po. So, we also work, as I said, when we have life lessons in our programs, that's our way po of giving inspiration, of giving our simple life lessons to the audiences. Ang mga lessons po na wag mawawala ng pag-asa, kumapit po sa Diyos, work hard and make sure, that what you do is for the good of others. Marami po kaming lessons po sa aming mga kwento, pero sana po, imbis na specific scenes lang po ang makita natin, sana ma-appreciate natin, Mr. Chairman at Mr. Congressman Abante, yung kabuuan ng programa at yung nadadala at nadudulot niyang inspirasyon at pag-asa sa aming mga manonood. Yun lang po.
Naniniwala po ako doon sa kabuuan. Kinakailangang i-judge ang isang program sa kabuuan. Pero pag nagpapakita po ron sa kabuuan ng patong scene, kahit po kayong nanay, hindi niyo papayagan eh. Hindi po ba? Ayan, pinakita ko sa inyo po yung patong scene. Pinakita ko sa inyo yung torrid lips-to-lips kissing. Mr. Chair, my colleagues, I believe that many of your shows give realities and true stories of Filipino experiences. Pero pag meron na po itong tinatawag na torrid kissing scenes in public, napapanood kahit ng mga bata. No, meron po, pinakita ko sa inyo. Ang hirap lang ng MTRCB, saka kayo bibigyan ng warning na ipalabas na eh. I think that you ought to change that. I think we have the MTRCB, Mr. Chair, isn't it? And I will be asking them also some questions that they ought to realize. For example, like yung patong scene sa Better Half. Naipalabas yun eh. Hindi naman po nakikita ng audience yung kabuuan. Nakikita po nila yung mga titillating scenes eh. Why? Sasabi ko nga sa inyo, the spiritual reality of human nature. That's why we are a nation of laws and not of men. Ano po? Now, ito po nakalagay. And I would like to ask the MTRCB to answer me on this. Letter D, disapproved for airing on television. Any television program that does not conform to the G, PG, or SPG classification shall be disapproved for television broadcast. The material shall be disapproved for television broadcast if, in the judgment of the board, applying contemporary Filipino culture values as standard, it is objectionable for being immoral, indecent, contrary to law, and of good customs, injurious to the prestige of the Republic of the Philippines or its people, or with a dangerous tendency to encourage the commission of violence or of a wrong or crime, such as but not limited to the work depicts in a patently lewd, offensive, or demeaning manner excretory functions and sexual conduct such as sexual intercourse, masturbation, and exhibition of the genitals. I would like to ask the MTRCB to please enlighten me on this. And why is it that you're only warning our television networks after airing what we may say a violation of your rule?
MTRCB, Executive Director Anne Menzo, pakisagot po yung tanong ni Congressman Abante.
Hello po. Good afternoon po.
Yes.
To answer your question, sir, MTRCB requires the network to submit a program, an episode of their program, and then it is reviewed by our board members. They are a committee of 3. And then if ever the committee finds that the material submitted is for PG or parental guidance, the succeeding episodes of that particular program for the next 13 weeks should carry and should conform with the parental guidance parameters.
And you're reviewing it, right?
Only one episode, Congressman. Just a sample episode.
So then, pinapalabas yan, and afterwards you issue a warning.
Once,
bakit na ipapalabas? And then you issue a warning.
We only review one sample episode, Congressman. And then the networks for the next 13 weeks will exercise self-regulation, making sure that the succeeding episodes will conform to the rating given based on the sample episode submitted and reviewed by the board.
So self-regulation, correct?
Yes, Congressman.
All right, now, let me ask you another question here, okay? Should there be a stricter guidelines on television, different from movies?
It is a different set of parameters, Congressman, because for
what
movies,
I'm saying is, should there be a stricter guidelines?
yes, Congressman.
Should there be?
Yes, there should be a stricter.
And therefore, Congress should review your guidelines.
The reason for having
you will be able to safeguard the families, the children, the parents, and everyone.
Yes, Congressman. That's the reason why MTRCB came up with an advisory. It's an advisory of the rating of the particular program shown before the program to advise the adult present to guide their children whether the material should be watched by them or not. Also, another measure that MTRCB implemented is they have a pictogram. You will see it at the bottom lower portion of your TV. It's color coded. It's green for G, PG for blue, and then red for SPG. Also, if the reason for this, it is superimposed all throughout the program because if you were not able to watch or catch the advisory at the beginning, you are still guided by that pictogram.
My last question to ABS CBN, sirs and ma'am, no? If ever, and this is not for me, all right? It's not for me, okay? You can do what you want to do and you do not need to listen to me as a person. But if ever, we are going to give you a 25-year franchise. Would there be changes in your programming and content programs?
Na nagkaroon ng additional 5 minutes galing kay Congresswoman Tambunting. Kong Sol?
Mr. Chairman, Just a point of, not a point of order, Mr. Chairman, but a point of query. Just a quick one.
Kong Defensor.
Na-notice ko po kasi yung nasubmit na position paper. Ang title po, Position Paper on the Issue of Alleged Failure to Air President Duterte's Political Advertisement during the campaign period. Ngayon po, hindi po siyempre makakasagot si Pangulong Duterte dahil wala naman po siya dito sa hearing na to. Critical po dito yung dokumento dun sa COMELEC na sinubmit yung ads. Kasi doon natin makikita dahil ang sabi niyo po dito, meron first come first serve basis. So if we can have the submission to the COMELEC, just so makita lang ho natin kung ano yung sinasabi nating lumabas na ads based on your COMELEC submission. Do we have it, Mr. Chairman? I mean, wala ho akong tatanong, kundi yun lang po lang, yung document to support this. Para ho sa discussion mamaya, I think the other congressmen would also be interested.
Papasabit mo.
Kung kaya nila po ngayon, Mr. Chairman, kasi yes, it's a position paper about the President's supposed statement, I think. So dapat din naman, to be fair to him, may supporting documents tong document na to.
May we know from ABS kung meron kayong supporting documents?
We'll submit it to the committee po.
Sorry, Mr. Katibak, pasensya na po kasi baka po may magtanong sa atin mamaya. I don't want to rush the ABS CBN, but again, baka po pang nagtanong kailan lumabas yung kay President Duterte na airing, anong oras, di ba yun po ang official submission sa COMELEC, baka po material dito sa position paper. So that's all, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you po.
Thank you. So, balik na po, Kong Sol.
Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chair. Ang katanungan ko po ay para kay Ms. Jing Reyes. Ms. Jing Reyes, para po sa kaalaman ng publiko at ng lahat, maaari niyo bang ikwento sa amin kung paano nabubuo ang isang balita bago ito umere sa isang newscast, halimbawa ng TV Patrol at ng Bandila? Ano po yung mga layers na pinagdadaanan nito bago ito umere sa isang newscast? Ms. Jing Reyes.
Mr. Chair, thank you. Thank you, Congresswoman Aragones. Ang pagbabalita po ay bahagi na ng pang-araw-araw naming buhay sa ABS CBN. We have reporters assigned to particular beats. Tulad po ng mga government institutions, agencies, law enforcement agencies as well. So lahat po sila ay lumalabas araw-araw, nangangalap ng balita sa kanya-kanyang assignment nila. Kapag po biglang nag-break ang storya, agad-agad po nila itong ire-report. Sa ngayon po, dahil sa teknolohiya, they are also required to report on digital, on social media, as well as on our radio platform, on our cable news channel. At sa ilang oras na bago ang TV Patrol ay paghahandaan po nilang buuin yung mga storyang yon, kung ano yung binabalita nila. In the course of coverage, lalabas po ang kanilang kakayahan, lalabas ang kanilang experience, ang seniority, ang pagkuha nila ng mga sources, gayon din ang interviews, at kung ano-ano pa pong tools na maaari nilang gamitin para mabuo nila ang balita. Kadalasan may ini-interview po. Kinocoveran ito ng video dahil visual ang aming platform. Ina-advise po ito sa desk editors at gayon din po sa mga program producers ng mga platform namin. So ganun po ang proseso. Makikita po sa gatekeeping layers na yan na dadaan po siya sa desk editors, dadaan din po siya sa program producers bago ma-ere ang mga storya nila na mula sa labas.
At Ms. Jing Reyes, sa pagbuo din ng isang balita, importante na makuha ang magkabilang panig ng kwento. Tama po ba? Ibig sabihin, kung may nagreklamo, dapat may interview siya at ang inirereklamo ay dapat ding makuna ng panig. Tama po ba?
Yes, Your Honor. May mga storya po na simple lamang kung matatawag na ganun, isang event at pwede mo siyang i-present ng buo at wala namang dalawang panig na kailangan, lalo na't meron talagang meron kang na-witness, no? At yan ay nangyayari sa mga panahon ng kalamidad o ng biglaang mga aksidente. Gayunpaman ay meron tayong pamamaraan para makuha po ang lahat ng may relevant information at relevant statements tungkol sa mga pangyayaring yan. Kapag po may akusasyon, talaga pong dapat kunin ng dalawang panig, Your Honor.
Ms. Jing, paano kung may akusasyon at ang isang panig ay kinunan pero ang isang panig ay ayaw magbigay ng statement? Paano po natin mailalabas ang news item na ito sa balita?
Kapag yung kabilang panig po ay ayaw magbigay ng pahayag, there are some instances, Your Honor, in which that happens, unfortunately, and we are constrained to air the story because it's big without the other side, but we would disclose that we did our best to interview him or get a reaction from him or her, Your Honor.
May mga pagkakataon din po, Ms. Jing, sa isang live newscast na nagkakamali ang video na nailalabas, nagkakamali ang video or graphics. Paano mo itinatama sa mismong oras na iyon ng newscast?
Kapag po nalaman namin agad ang pagkakamali, ay hinahabol po yun within that particular program. Kung ito po ay spelling error or graphics or factual error, maaari po talagang makalusot. Pero kung ito po ay factual error or an inaccuracy and we find out about it during the program, we make sure that we air the correction within the same program po.
Salamat po. Pupunta na ho ako sa aking pangalawang katanungan. Sa haba ho ng panahon ng paghahatid ng balita ng ABS CBN sa iba't ibang platforms nito, may mga pagkakataon po ba na nakatanggap na kayo ng reklamo tungkol sa isang news item na ibinalita sa isang newscast at paano niyo po ito tinutugunan o inaaksyonan?
Meron po. As I said, Your Honor, we are not a perfect organization, and even when you were still with us as a reporter, Your Honor, you were aware that we take feedback from our viewers and complaints very seriously. I personally would like to state that I take those feedback and complaints very seriously. At ito po ay inaaksyonan natin, una, sa pagmamagitan ng pagtatama ng storya o ng report. Pangalawa, sa paghingi ng paumanhin. Kapag nagkakamali po tayo, ginagawa po nating public yan. At pangatlo, may kaukulang investigasyon at parusa sa mga nagkakamali, Your Honor.
Tama rin po ba, Ms. Jing Reyes, na sabihin na ang training ng isang reporter sa ABS-CBN o sa anumang istasyon na pinag-uusapan natin o maging sa mga anchors ay tinitiyak ang kredo ng isang journalist na kinakailangang accurate at patas ang isang balita na kinakalap at inilalabas, walang labis, walang kulang, sa katotohanan lamang?
Yes, Your Honor, yan po ang aming tungkulin. At lahat po naman ng journalist ng ABS-CBN, yan po ang kanyang layunin. Kaya nga lang, nagkakaroon din ng mga pagkakataon na hindi po naiiwasan na nagkakamali po kami. Minsan po ito ay dahil sa mismong nakuhang report, minsan naman ay may ibang detalye na nakuha naman ng ibang reporter at ipinagsama sa isang report, kaya nagaganap po yung ganong errors, Your Honor.
Maraming salamat po, Ms. Jing Reyes. Mr. Chair, gusto ko naman hong tanungin ang KBP, ang kinatawan po ng KBP.
Go ahead po, Kong-Sol, nandyan po ang si Mr. Junnick daw.
Mr. June ng KBP, ang ABS CBN po ay kaanib ng kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas, for the record. Tama po ba? Mr. June? Kasama po ba natin si Mr. June, Mr. Chair?
Nandyan po siya kanina eh. Baka nakamute pa.
Ayun, na-mute na po. Your Honor, Your Chairman, Your Honor, tama po yun na member po ang ABS CBN ng kapisanan ng broadcast ng Pilipinas. Bilang
Bahagi ho o miyembro ang ABS CBN ng kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas sa mahabang panahon, paano nyo ilalarawan ang ABS CBN bilang isang broadcasting company na miyembro ho ninyo?
Well, ang ABS-CBN po has been a member of good standing. Very active po sila sa maraming committees, and they're always represented sa board of trustees ng KBP. So they're part of the policy making. Meron din po silang representative dun sa sa mga iba't ibang committee, lalo-lalo na po yung ating quasi-judicial committee, which is called the Standards Council, which investigates concerns. So very active po sila, and they've been contributing in a lot to the kapisanan in terms of their time, in terms of providing airtime, also to cover important events for the government. For example, yung pong partnership natin dito sa pandemic, well, before sila masara, they've been together with a lot of members ng KBP. They've been actively broadcasting, simulcasting the Laging Handa at saka yung mga press conferences po ng presidential spokesperson para mapahitid po yung lahat ng relevant information about the pandemic. So that's just an example po. They've been quite active, and they're also giving us airtime to air PSAs, both initiated by the organization at mga PSAs po na in-initiate po ng gobyerno, na iba't ibang sangay ng gobyerno.
Maraming salamat ho, Mr. June, sa inyong kasagutan. Mr. Chair, may mga bagay na malinaw sa nalakalap ko sa mga kasagutan sa aking mga katanungan ngayong hapong ito. Una, sa pagkuha ng isang balita at bago lumabas ang balita sa ere o sa isang newscast, ay importante na nakuha ang anumang panig ng kwento para ito'y maging patas. Sa ABS-CBN may internal check and balance at sino man sa kumpanya o sa broadcasting network mula sa maliit hanggang mataas na empleyado, kung ikaw ay nagkamali at labag sa ethics o standards ng kumpanya, ay maaaring patawan ng disciplinary action. At patuloy ang sinasabi nga, yung kredo ng isang journalist na nananalaytay sa puso at isipan ang paggawa ng balita sa isang patas na pamamaraan. Isang bagay pa rin yung malinaw na narinig ko at napagtanto ko sa mga narinig ko ngayong araw na ito. Hindi ho perpekto o